Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is brought to you by our friends at Fangoria magazine. That's right, the first name in fright since 1979 is now an affiliate of America's Hometown Horror. And because of that, we can now offer you an exclusive 20% discount on any first-time magazine subscription or merchandise purchase by heading over to shop.fangoria.com and using the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout. That's shop.fangoria.com/HometownHorrorPod, or just use the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout for that exclusive discount on anything from Fangoria. Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is also brought to you by our friends at Horror Facts Magazine. Never heard of Horror Facts Magazine? Well, if you're a horror fan, they're a name that you absolutely should know. You can find them over at horrorfacts.com, and they're a great resource for all things horror, including news, reviews, editorials, and lots of other horror podcasts, not only limited to, but including America's Hometown Horror. So head on over to horrorfacts.com and check them out. Now, let's get on with the show. All right, hello, good evening, and welcome back into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. Thanks so much for checking back in with us. We certainly appreciate it, and first and foremost, if you are interested in such things, here's where you can find us on the interwebs. All of our social media channels are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or, X, not Twitter. Just search for America's Hometown Horror, you'll find us. You can also find us at apod.com. which is our website. A lot of information about the show, including our blog. You can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com, and you can leave us a voicemail at 508-927-1267. And of course, the most important thing you can do for our show is to give us a like, a subscribe, and a review, preferably a 5-star review if you like what we do. It helps us get out there to more people that also like horror, like us, and like you people that are listening. All of you people. So if you could do that for us, that'd be great. And last but certainly not least, I have to give a big shout out to our buddy Shaun O'Loughlin from Skywheel Media, who's now handling all of our audio and music production. And if you have a podcast that you're looking to take to the next level in terms of audio production, get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with Shauno and Skywheel Media so you can sound like liquid gold, just like all the boys and girl at America's Hometown Horror. So, with that being said, I'm joined live in studio here by my fellow co-hosts, Andrew and Matthew. Gentlemen, how we doing?
We're doing. How are you doing?
We're doing
great. It's good to be alive.
Feels good to be back after a week off, right? And I think we took a week off. I don't know. We had a lot going on with horror trivia, and then we did Baskin, which is out now. And then, it's good to be back. I know we had a very busy week with Halfway to Halloween horror trivia at Mayflower Brewing Company, which was a huge success. We talked about that in the Baskin episode. Oh, that was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. So, anywho, what's new with everybody? Andrew, I know you just got back from a vacation, mon frere.
Yeah, it was nice. Went down to Myrtle Beach.
Lovely Myrtle Beach, huh?
Golf. Saw the Myrtle Beach Classic. Inaugural. I can't say that word.
Inaugural?
Yeah, I think I was pretty close.
You were.
Golf tournament down there. That was fun. Weather was nice. Had a few drinks, just a few. Had some Krispy Kreme donuts.
Just a few.
Went to Waffle House. I love Waffle House. I don't care what anybody says. Give me some Waffle House.
Who dares to besmirch Waffle House? I've never even been to one, and I want to go to one so bad.
Oh, I think a lot of people besmirch Waffle House.
I mean, I know it's
like I didn't go. I went there.
People always like getting like.
That's where people get.
Fights.
Yeah, and everyone goes there hammered. Like I like to go there in the light of day.
Oh, it's open 24 hours.
Yeah, okay. So I like to go there in the light of day. And there's something about their waffles that are just.
They're fresh.
What they're doing.
So I remember there was an episode of before Tony Bourdain died. He went to a Waffle House with Sean Brock, who's a pretty famous chef. And they went there at like 3 a.m. after a night of drinking, and he got a bunch of food, like so much fucking food, like pecan waffles with like omelets and all kinds of stuff. And it looked awesome. I mean, I know everyone trashes on it all the time because there's always trashy things happening there, but I would love to go to a Waffle
you
House
question, the only question I have is, am I going to get dysentery when I eat this, or am I going to be all right?
They're just waffles.
Yeah, but the place is disgusting. Nothing's clean. Everything's dirty. Like you sit down and you're like, can you wipe the schmeg off this counter?
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly
it's dirty. But there's just something about Waffle House waffles that are just delicious.
Better or worse than IHOP?
10 times better. IHOP's trash.
IHOP is trash.
Denny's is better. I like Denny's better.
Okay.
What the fuck is up, Denny's?
Better or worse than Friendly's? I know Friendly's does lunch and dinner also, but I think Waffle House.
I don't know if I don't remember the last time I had breakfast at Friendly's, to be honest. I would go
it's
with
been at least 20 years.
I'd go with Waffle House.
Better or worse than Howard Johnson's, which I'm pretty sure doesn't even exist anymore.
That was a long time. Shoney's. I used to like Shoney's breakfast buffet.
Better or worse than Bickford's, which I'm also pretty sure doesn't exist anymore.
I kind of like Bickford's.
Bickford's.
But I don't know if I actually like Bickford's.
Used to go to the
Kettle?
Hearth and Kettle.
Oh.
No, I mean the one in Plymouth no longer exists. But I was going to say I used to go to the Bickford's at the Rotary on Route 3 in Braintree all the fucking time.
Oh, okay.
All the fucking time, late night.
Well, yeah, that was a late night spot because they had more than
Mhm.
just breakfast. They had everything.
Oh, yeah.
What about better or worse than?
All American Diner.
Where's that?
It used to be in Plymouth.
Oh, I was there. Yeah,
the
that's
one with all the,
the
like-
gal. Is that
That turned into
it's
Mia Thai.
Mia Thai,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mia.
That place was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
What about Cracker Barrel? Trash.
Never been. I've never been to any of these.
The one
fucking
time I've
places.
been to Cracker
Huh?
Barrel, it was not good. It was trash.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It was
The only
garbage.
thing good Cracker Barrel has is that little peg game that you play. Not that peg game that you play, but
Also,
other peg game.
Why'd you look at me?
Now that we're
the audience didn't know I was looking at you.
now that we're doing food talk, I have to ask. So down in Myrtle Beach and down south, are Krispy Kremes like readily accessible
Oh, yeah.
everywhere, like Dunkin' Donuts are? Like all over
I
the
mean,
place?
there's more Dunkin' Donuts, obviously, because Dunkin' Donuts is now it's
they're
just
the empire.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But there's Krispy Kremes. I mean, there's probably two down in Myrtle Beach where we were. I guess I don't know. I didn't really count them, but I
So
ate them.
Kat and I went down to Myrtle Beach many years ago for my birthday, and we had an absolute blast. And I don't know where you are in relation to where we were staying. We were right by like the boardwalk type thing. I don't know where.
I think
your dad
that's like
lives.
15-20 minutes from where we
Okay,
were.
so you're a different area, but
Yeah.
I remember there was one Dunkin' Donuts like downtown, which I'm sure there are more now because it was so long ago. But I didn't see any Krispy Kremes, and I love Krispy Kreme
I
donuts.
Yeah,
love me a
Krispy
Krispy
Kremes
Kremes.
can that'll get your dick hard.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I only had 2. I resisted. We
Mhm.
got a dozen, but I was like, I'm already a fat cow as it is. I can't be just eating donuts all day. I mean, I can't.
Pounding fucking rum drinks and eating donuts.
Dude, the amount of Miller Lights I must have drank while I was down there was disgusting.
happy I converted you to the Church of Miller Lite, which no reason.
It's just
for that.
a-
I
they're
just,
just
I just
a-
prefer Miller
They're
Lite.
just better. It's got a little. It has a little more taste than like a Bud Light or.
Bud Light's very sweet.
Yeah, there's something about a Bud Light. I mean, this is a delicious Pilsner. Why would you say
May I
that?
remind you of the marketing campaign in the 90s and early 2000s for Miller Lite? Great taste, less filling, with large-breasted women fighting in fountains. So yeah, I my dad was a Bud Light drinker.
Yeah, but who had
Bud Lights.
Real Men of Genius?
Bud Light clearly had the superior commercials. There's no
Coors
doubt
Light
about
had
it.
the Coors Light twins.
They did.
Dude,
And
Old Milwaukee
and
was it?
twins.
Was it Old Milwaukee? Bitter beer face. Those were great commercials.
Those were good
too,
ones
though.
too.
Beer
Yeah.
commercials are good.
I love beer.
Hey, we drink a lot of beer in this podcast, so cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers,
Andrew, I'm glad you had a nice little vacation. I would love to go away ever again at some point in my life when my daughter is old enough to do so. And actually, you know what? Hey, we're joined by the spooky hound dog, Mr. Otis himself, down in the podcast studio right now. As long as he will allow us to keep him down here, he's not barking. He's eating his Kong full of peanut butter, and now
Pounding his con.
the whole basement smells like peanut butter. But that's actually a good thing. He's
Yeah, that's fine.
he's just going to town. So, anyway. Guys, you want to get into some news stuff before we jump into tonight's movie, which I know everyone's very excited to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Couple quick things real quick before we jump into the meat of the bones. If you're listening to this episode, you can rent the following horror or horror-adjacent movies at home. First one would be Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which you can now rent or buy, which I believe is $20, which I will
I
not
would spend that.
will not
Holy
be.
shit.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for that one to come to HBO Max.
More money than seen it in the movies.
Personally. Same for Abigail, the latest offering from Radio Silence.
That's also $20.
That's also $20 as of right now.
I'll see that, but
I won't.
I
I'll
actually
$20.
I do really want to see that movie, but I'm not gonna pay $20 for it. I'm gonna wait for it to come to some sort of streaming service. And I also can report that the first Omen will be available to rent on May 28th, but it will also be on Hulu on May 30th. So wait for that to be on Hulu
Okay,
on
I'll
May
wait
30th.
2 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
So
big
wait the
wait.
2 days. I can certainly wait the 2 days for that to be on Hulu as opposed to paying $20.
They have all the Omen movies on there right now, I think.
Oh, really?
That makes sense. So now they're going to have this one too. So in theaters, you can now see The Strangers Chapter 1, which apparently is launching a new trilogy of movies based on The Strangers. I've watched 0 trailers for this.
Me too.
Know they've done a lot of weird marketing like they did for Smile at certain events. Like I know they were at Coachella and I think South by Southwest and a bunch of other stuff. Just people walking around in strangers' masks. So there's that. Hopefully the movie's good. I mean, you never know. I guess we'll see. We talked about this last week, but I do really want to see this movie. It was a limited release last time we recorded, kind of like Late Night with the Devil was at first, but now it's a wide release, and that is I Saw the TV Glow, which I really can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah,
I'm very intrigued.
I have kind of kept myself off the radar for this one.
Yeah.
But I've heard it's got some good buzz.
I remember you sent me the trailer initially when it came out, and I think you said, like, this is tailor-made for you, Mike. This looks like a Mike movie, and I think I watched the trailer that day, and I've watched nothing about it since because I want to go in and see how it is. Getting a lot of good reviews. But as we know, and as we've talked about several times, it doesn't necessarily equate to a quality movie. So we'll see how everything goes. We'll see. Guys, rest in peace to a couple of people. First of which, Roger Corman, 98 years old,
man.
passed
Wild.
away within the last week.
Dude's got a hell of a repertoire.
Sure does. Huge influence on the
little
horror
Poe
genre.
movies I like.
Yeah.
I love.
And all your Vincent Price movies for the most part.
Vincent
too.
Price.
Yes. Obviously a huge influence on the horror genre, huge influence on the superhero genre, huge influence on, indie filmmaking, film in general.
Well, he also like launched so many careers.
Oh,
Bruce
yeah.
Stern,
Mhm.
fucking Coppola, right? Francis Ford Coppola. He was like I think
I'm
he
not
was
sure about that. Just because I don't know.
I think he was like an assistant to him when he first started. I also
That's
did.
wild.
I was sitting in the airport when you texted, and I read like a fucking 3-page Wikipedia about his life. So
I think Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma also worked for Roger Corman at some
Yeah.
point. I know James Gunn also, I think, worked for Roger Corman at some point. So a lot of filmmakers that are out there making horror today owe a debt of gratitude to Roger Corman. And I actually, I think it was Mother's Day he passed away. And you texted us, Matt, and I was like, holy fuck, I didn't realize he was still alive. But 98 years old.
That's
He
insane.
lived a life, lived a long, long time.
Yeah, his name's attached to a lot of stuff.
I feel like there's no independent film without that guy.
Right.
Pretty much, or B film.
Yeah,
I
feel like Vince. As much as we talk about Vincent Price in this podcast, we already kind of touched about it. But like that, without Roger Corman, Vincent Price is not the icon that he is today, for sure. So, yeah, rest in peace, Roger Corman. Hope you're somewhere better, Mon Frere. Also, Jaws actor Susan Backlany, who played Chrissy Watkins, the woman who died in the opening scene of Jaws, also passed away.
I saw that
last week. Yeah.
I just assumed she was dead from a shark attack.
Nope. No, I mean, you would not be the first person to think that she actually died in that shark attack because it was so realistic and so horrifying.
Right?
Yeah. So she also passed away, which is just, sad to hear because obviously these people that were very young in Jaws. I mean, the movie also came out,
75.
In 70, was it 75? It was 75. So that means it is 25 plus 24, almost 50 years old. It'll be 50 years old next. So yeah.
They're going to definitely have to do a 50-year-old fucking reunion.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Which, who's left? Roy Scheider's dead. Robert Shaw's dead. Richard Dreyfuss is still alive. I mean, I don't know. But
Steven Spielberg's still alive.
Steven Spielberg's still alive, making movies, for sure. All the actors were way older than him when he made that movie. But actually, I feel like while we're on the topic of animal attack movies, I have to give a shout out and also thank Matt here he's been kind of telling me a lot about the Evolution of Horror podcast, which I started listening to today. Big into it already. They do seasons about different types of horror, from what I gather. Listening to them, you can probably speak to it a little bit better than I can. But this season that they're launching now is about horror in nature. So it's a lot of animal attack horror, eco horror, and also what's the word I'm looking for? People that go into like nature type situations, like rock climbing or cave diving. So they're including like The Descent, this type of stuff. So it's
Grizzly
all
2,
that.
The Revenge.
Yep, I'm sure that'll be in there. But all sorts of encompassing nature horror is going to be in this season. So anyway, so in listening to this first episode of Evolution of Horror, they talked a lot about this particular movie directed by Werner Herzog, an iconic German filmmaker. If you're a horror fan, you probably know who he is. He directed a lot of stuff. But apparently he directed this film called Grizzly Man in 2005, which talks about this guy who was a big bear advocate. He used to go out into the Pacific Northwest and Alaska to hang out with these bears, film them all the time, and was ultimately killed by a grizzly bear.
It's crazy how that happens.
Mhm.
You know, you think you know somebody.
Yeah. He apparently
Turns out they're a
stayed.
bear.
Yeah,
they're
they
actually a
are
bear.
animals, which is horrifying story, by the way. Look it up. But he was there past the season where they say you should be there with the bears because they're trying to hibernate for the winter and bulk up and eat anything they can. And this guy had video cameras with him the entire time, and he was actually captured, not on film, because apparently, I guess Herzog thinks that the cap was still on the camera, so you don't see it, but there is audio out there of him getting ripped to shreds by a grizzly bear. And in Herzog's film, it just shows him putting on the headphones and listening to it, and he starts crying and saying to the person that has the audio, "You should destroy this right now. Don't ever listen to it." And I made the mistake of Googling the audio. And that's something that you should never do. It was the most horrifying thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And it was worse than Chrissy Watkins getting eaten by the shark in Jaws, because that was fake.
Yeah.
And this is a real person getting ripped to shreds by a gigantic bear.
As the bear was eating his soul.
I think I texted Matt afterwards. I think I need to watch the Care Bears or some shit, because I felt all sorts of fucked up after
Just to
listening
get a
to that.
better feeling about
Better
just
state of
watching
mind.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
And
He also
pretty-
did like
pretty
did
much.
Nosferatu.
He did Nosferatu,
Yeah.
or he did. I don't know if he did Nosferatu, but he did the Willem Dafoe Nosferatu movie, I believe. I'm not sure.
Shadow of the Vampire?
Shadow of the Vampire.
No, I thought he made like the actual remake of Nosferatu.
He did actually. You're correct. You're correct. So anyway, long way of saying rest in peace to Roger Corman. Rest in peace to Susan Backlany from Jaws. And do not Google the audio of Grizzly Man getting mauled to death by a grizzly. That was a mistake that I made.
Hadn't planned on it, but
Yep.
now I know what I'm doing later. Don't tell me not to do something.
Don't say I didn't warn you. Guys, so a couple quick news items before we move on to tonight's movie. I have minimal stuff here. This is just stuff that piqued my interest. I ask you both. I know we kind of talked about this from week to week over the last year or so. Was there a show that kind of took a nosedive more between seasons 1 and 2 than Yellowjackets?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not
I
asking.
don't watch enough shows.
I'm not asking you to like
answer
come up
that.
with something. I'm just saying the dip in quality between season 1 and 2 was very noticeable, I thought. And I
Yeah,
think
it was
season
kind
two
of
The
was very
story
good.
kind of like slugs along.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have just been one season, and they should have just like. It gets really weird with like the whole like retreat. Like, it's just
Yeah, it's getting
fucking-
a little messy.
It got okay towards the end, but I guess my point being is that I'm here to say that Showtime has taken to social media this afternoon to announce that Yellowjackets is officially underway in production for season 3.
Well, must have done good
Um,
enough.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
a ton of people still watched it.
because you're still like you know it's gonna
I want
happen.
to fucking know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
I'd say we're probably going to have to wait until 2025 for season 3.
We're already
if
halfway
it-
through 2024.
As long as it's good, I would rather wait a longer time than have it suck and get it sooner.
Can I just say that I'm officially out on Stranger Things? I'm not interested in watching the new season.
How dare you? Why?
They're like fucking 40 years old now. Like I'm all set. It's gone on too long. I can't anymore. This show should have been 5 seasons, and it should have been 5 years, not 10 years, to make 5 seasons, and just have them. They're like 30 years old now. Like what's his name? Steve. He's like fucking like.
Don't
34.
you dare talk bad about
Yeah,
my
but
boy
he's
Steve.
like almost my age now.
I'm pretty sure he's probably he's not quite.
He's busy making
We're-
indie rock songs.
We're
now.
both 37. He's probably closer to Matt's age than our age. I would
Still
say.
too old to be playing a high schooler.
Well,
You're playing a boy.
A child.
a child. Well, hey, I mean, for fuck's sake, in the 80s, most of the people that were playing high school people were in their
Yeah,
mid to
like
late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah, I mean, it is
I
what
mean,
it is.
I'm pretty sure Kevin Dillon in the Blob remake, which we talked about a couple episodes ago, I'm pretty sure he was like 35.
Oh yeah,
when he played
100%.
somebody in
Dude, there's
high
a ton of
school.
people in like all those.
I
all
just
those
it was interesting when like it was nostalgia when it first came out and it was cool, and now it's like it's just I think I'm done.
If they stick the landing with this last season, I'll be into it. but they have a lot of stuff to land. A lot. I don't know. Are you still not caught up?
Dude, I don't give a shit.
I know, man.
He's like me with Game of Thrones. It's too long now. We missed too much.
I'm
You're
just
all
not
out.
gonna bother.
The most recent season was the most horror season that we got, and it was very good. And I'm surprised to hear you say that because you were very into it.
No, I thought the season was very good, but I think I'm good. That was good enough. I don't even care what's happening.
That's crazy that you've been along with it this whole time, and now you're.
I'm just like
you're a troll.
You're a troll. They're fucking old. I don't care anymore. I'm on to something else. I started watching The Terror. That show was good.
I told you that. I've been ringing that bell for a while.
It's almost as good as Fortitude.
I knew you were going to talk about Fortitude. Yes, I know. Dennis Quaid.
Baby Reindeer was good.
Reindeer was good. I'm 4 episodes into Baby Reindeer. It's very good so far, and it's obviously not horror, but it's
pretty. You know what's
close.
Tense, though.
You know what's going to be interesting is she's supposed to be doing some like thing with Piers Morgan.
She already did.
Oh, I didn't see that.
She already did. Yep.
I
got to look at her, and she refutes everything that guy says in the show. Yeah.
Of course.
Well, I think,
of course, it's with Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
Because Piers Morgan. But yeah, that show's fucking wild. It's very strange.
I thought that was the guy from Rock and Rolla for the longest time. I was like, oh, this is the first thing he's ever been in.
All right, let's talk about some good stuff. Next topic. The Jordan Peele produced horror movie, which was previously known as GOAT, has been renamed Him and set for a 2025 release.
This isn't his. He's producing.
He's producing. He's
and
not
Marlon
directing.
Wayans is in it.
So let's see.
One of the Wayans brothers.
So it falls under his Monkey Paw Productions banner. September 19th, 2025 is the release date from Universal Studios. And Justin Tipping is directing the movie and is going to be starring Marlon Wayans alongside Julia Fox, with Tyreek Withers, Tim Heidecker, Jim Jeffries, and Grammy nominee Tierra Whack, who I've never heard of. Andrew, Julia Fox.
You haven't seen Uncut Gems?
I have, but I don't know who that is.
The chick.
She's the hot chick in Uncut Gems.
Banging.
She used to date Kanye West.
Yeah, she's kind of a weirdo.
She's a certain weirdo if she's dating Kanye West.
Certain type of weirdo.
Well, let me put it this way. Kanye West goes for a certain type of woman, and you would not be surprised when you look at her that he goes for this type of woman. So, obviously, anytime any Jordan Peele related news comes out, we're going to talk about it on the show because I think we're going to talk about this in a little bit because I think the movie we're talking about tonight has also one of the more interesting horror filmmakers working today, but Jordan Peele is among those names.
Yeah,
amongst others.
He's a automatic watch.
Does it hold the same cachet for you guys if he's producing something as opposed to directing it?
No, not as much.
So he produced like Lovecraft Country and HBO, and which was pretty good. The Candyman remake,
which was kind of disappointing.
Didn't really like that.
I'm not really big into Candyman in the first place.
Yeah,
that movie, it's not bad. Hold on,
Andrew.
I know, dude. I'm like,
I'm not that. No,
hold on. I don't hate. I own it. I don't hate it.
The first one.
Yeah,
the first one.
I don't not like
it,
but it's just film. Like it's not. I just find it kind of like slow.
It is actually. I mean, it's a very slow movie.
Yeah,
but it's very.
But I do like
unsettling.
It's just not my favorite. Yeah,
fucking gnarly.
Obviously,
the remake sucks.
And Tony Todd is. You can see why Tony Todd has become a horror icon because of that movie. It's just like, it's a great role for him. Very dramatic, very theatrical. It works well. And a great horror villain. So
one of the best.
So yeah, I mean, aside from that, I don't think we really know much about this movie. Let me see here. Set in the world of football. I don't know if that's European football or American football.
I think it's supposed to be American.
Him is being described as a, quote, a blood-chilling journey into the inner sanctum of fame, power, and the pursuit of excellence at any cost. So, yeah, I'm intrigued. Hopefully they throw some sort of nod into the Key and Peele College Bowl sketches with all the names. That'd be
would be very funny.
I mean, that would be like with Marlon Wayans. I mean, there should be some comedy in it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an odd choice.
Marlon Wayans has had a very interesting career. Like, obviously, he's been in a lot of comedy stuff.
That movie was great.
Did you know that Marlon? Did you guys know that if Tim Burton had been allowed to direct Batman 3, which ultimately became Batman Forever, he was going to, or actually, I think it was in Batman Returns. He initially wanted to cast Marlon Wayans as Robin. So had that happened, Marlon Wayans could have had a very different career. More dramatic roles. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what his.
I don't know who was Robin at that.
Chris
What does he
O'Donnell
do
kind
now?
of doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Now. Wasn't that Chris O'Donnell?
Yeah.
Well,
That movie was awful.
I mean,
he's
Chris-
probably better off not being in that
Chris
movie.
O'Donnell's a TV actor now, but Marlon Wayans still does movies, so you
Right.
never know. Like,
No, I know, so that's better.
who's
for
more of a
Marlon.
movie star right now, Marlon Wayans or Chris
Marlon
O'Donnell?
Wayans.
Marlon
Clearly.
No, so that's what I'm
Absolutely,
saying.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
so not being in that role might have been a benefit.
There's 0 movies Chris O'Donnell's been in that if I never saw again, I'd be upset.
I can't
Yeah.
even think of anything he's in other than
That
Other than Batman Forever.
garbage
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll see what happens with that new Jordan Peele movie. And I would be remiss if I did not talk about this because Andrew, you happen to be in Myrtle Beach when we share this piece of news with each other, as Otis is eating my foot. This is what he does to calm himself down. He's a very strange dog. No one is denying that. Andrew, the tall man from Phantasm, is finally getting his
Funko
own
Pop.
Funko Pop toy.
Let's
So,
go.
as I
Huge.
said, I know what I'm
Should
getting
be.
you for Christmas now or for your birthday, which are back-to-back days.
Are the same
Dude,
day.
also, what's his name? Kusky.
Yes, let me- 'cause I
he
remember-
wrote a book of short stories based off of the Phantasm.
Angus Scrim? Let's see. Hold
No,
on.
Coscarelli.
Don Coscarelli. Yes.
Yes.
Speaking of Phantasm, here it is right here. Franchise creator Don Coscarelli returns to the universe with 6 brand new original short stories in fiction, PHICTION, Tales from the World of Phantasm, which is now available.
Dude, now they need
So
to
you're going to
turn
buy that book?
I probably should, and then I hope that they turn it into like a anthology series. Oh, baby.
Well,
there you go.
I guess we'll see. Anything Phantasm related, I always have to report on for you, my
Phantasm
friend.
is a fucking awesome movie.
Because
It's
we love
fucking wild. It's
all
such a
of them are so
bizarre-
much fun to watch.
So
They're
you,
just a blast.
Yeah.
you weren't here for the Phantasm episode, right? That was before you when you
way
were
before.
merely a sparkle in the eyes of America's hometown.
Yeah,
dog.
I was just sitting over here having a phantasm in my pants. Like, what's going on with this?
Well, you're definitely going to get a gift of
Well, if we ever do,
the tall man.
if we do another trivia, which we will,
You can do a
my
Phantasm
category,
category.
yeah, I got to up the hardness.
Yeah.
Just ruin people's lives.
Yeah.
In
Well-
Phantasm 5.
Well, I don't know what I can say about this right now, but I texted you guys this earlier that we did get some information about potentially we might be doing it something at Barrel House Z in October.
True.
I don't know if it's going to be trivia or something else. I guess we'll see, but we'll go from there. Stay tuned, dear listeners. You never know what's going to pop up in the future. Anyway, guys, that's what I got for news. Unless you guys have anything else before we jump into tonight's movie.
Nothing.
Oh, good. Okay. Why don't we take a quick 90-second break from a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back to talk about When Evil Lurks. And evil is lurking on my foot and eating my foot right now. Mr. Otis. Good Lord. All right. We'll be right back.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. On the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park. Spooky World. Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then right next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right. Welcome back. All right, folks. I feel like this conversation tonight has been a long time coming. A long time coming since, I would say, maybe this past December, when we talked about this movie, and it was all pretty close to the top of our top 10 movies of 2023
It was
list.
my number one.
I actually meant to look up where I had it on mine. I didn't have it at one.
I think you had it at 4.
I had Evil Dead Rise as my number one. I remember that. And I think I had Last Voyage of the Demeter at my 2. But Evil Dead. When Evil Lurks. A lot of evil tonight. When Evil Lurks was very close to the top. Where did you have it, Andrew? Do you remember?
It was top 3. I can't remember if it was 2. It wasn't 1.
I think you had it at 2.
I
Because I
it was
think
2.
you had to
picked that-
shelf it because I had it.
Yeah,
at
and I
1.
had that random movie at number 1, I think.
You had Suitable Flash. No, that was your 9. You had
I had it was that movie you guys were like, really, with Naomi Rapace?
Oh yeah, you had that movie The Passenger like way up there.
I had that up there. It was the one with Naomi Rapace, I think. The one where she's like a vampire, like she's growing up like a vampire. What was it called? I can't remember the name of the movie. It's a weird name for a movie. It was that the year before.
I don't know.
You had weird lists the last 2 years, but
I always have a weird list.
I appreciate it, though.
was
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
yeah, it's not a bad thing at all. While Andrew's looking that up, in case you have not heard of When Evil Lurks, When Evil Lurks, which in Spanish translates to Cuando acecha la maldad, is a 2023 supernatural horror film written and directed by Demian Rugna. He's a name that we've talked about in this podcast quite a few times, and a name as a horror fan you absolutely should know.
You won't be alone.
This is an international co-production between Argentina and the United States. The film stars Ezequiel Rodriguez, Damian Salomon, Luis Zembrowski, Sylvia Sabater, and Marcelo Michino. Again, we're delving into foreign film here tonight, so if I'm mispronouncing names, please don't call me an asshole. I'm doing the best I can here.
I thought that was pretty good.
And basically the plot description, very loose, I should say, as we usually do. In a remote village, 2 brothers find a demon-infected man just about to, quote-unquote, give birth to evil itself. They decide to get rid of the body, only to end up unintentionally spreading chaos, which is very, very vague. And if you have not seen this movie or heard of this movie, I would suggest that you go into this movie knowing very little, because it will really get you. It is currently streaming on Shudder. If you have a Shudder subscription, this is something you've probably seen. It's a Shudder exclusive, I believe, right? And if you're paying for Shudder and you haven't seen this, what are you even doing?
Yeah, it's worth the entire
Go
subscription.
watch this. Yeah,
For a year.
yeah. But obviously, this is a Matt pick tonight. Matt decided to choose this movie, which I was very happy to hear. I really like this movie a lot. And I'm pretty sure I said this in the episode that we did about Terrified, which is the other big Demian Rugna movie that we talked about in this podcast before, which was also a Matt pick. Mm-hmm. But Demian Rugna has to be in the consideration for one of the best working directors in horror right now, right? I mean, I absolutely consider him to be on the same wavelength, as your Jordan Peele's, your Ari Aster's, Robert Eggers,
Damian Leone,
Zach Kreger. I mean, Zach Kreger only did one film, but I feel like that was interesting enough
I'm
film where
in his next one.
You want to see where these directors go.
Ty
West, absolutely. I mean, Ty West, I feel like is more established than a lot of those other guys.
He's become more of a household name now, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ty West, another little shout out to Roger Corman. He's pretty much the guy that invented like the multiple movies done at a
breakneck pace.
Yeah. Like he was like, well, they would make 2 movies at once,
yeah,
and just have the same actors and actresses. And I'm like, that's the way to do it. So.
And Rugna does this because I'm pretty sure that of the 2 main characters in this movie, the guy with the beard, he's also in Terrified. I'm pretty sure he's also in Damian Rugna's segment in Satanic Hispanics.
I'm almost positive the other guy is too, Jimmy.
Okay, and I know that the guy that plays the farmer in this movie, he is also in Terrified. So he uses a lot of the same actors. And Matt, you've said before that, and I agree wholeheartedly, that I would not be surprised at all if all of these movies take place in one shared.
Universe,
right?
I've talked, and I'm going to bring this up later when we really get into the storyline. But I like to believe that Terrified is the start, or if not the start, in the midst of what happens before this movie takes place.
Okay,
like that sets the whole story and mythos for everything.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
It has to.
If not, then it is what it is. Like, they're both great movies.
He doesn't have to say it is, but it definitely is same vibes. It just seems like it's the same universe. Like it just everything is very
like
similar.
Impossibly
it's just
horrific thing.
Awful situation. It's all very similar with the demonic possession, just the way that everything goes about. And talk about.
There's a lot to unpack.
The guy knows how to make
story.
some fucking scares. That's for sure.
I was going to say, I think in some ways I actually appreciate Demian Rugna's work more than some of the other directors that I mentioned. Not that I'm not a fan of those directors, but
he's original.
I feel like
So
I feel like his mission is just to scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And everything that he does, which I mean, if you're watching horror, that's ultimately your goal, right? Like, I mean, you may look to find some sort of allegory for some sort of real world issue or some sort of, something like that. But ultimately, you want to watch a horror movie to be scared. You want to be horrified, correct?
Well, the other thing that's cool about this movie is that it has that. You're getting shown images of violence that you're not going to see in another movie for the most part.
God.
But like other movies that kind of do that, like where they expose you to these awful things, sometimes they kind of like, they don't really have a good story. Like, look at like me and Andrew talked about with Justin, we did Martyrs. Brutal fucking movie, but there's a really important story and underlying tone that goes with it. This movie has a fucking great story. Like, it's very interesting, like how it all plays out and the whole mythos behind this whole thing with the rotten I'd like to really do like a deep dive into this.
It's not
movie,
just
'cause there's a
shock
lot
for
to
the
unpack.
name of shock value. The shocking scenes that, like, there's no limits for what he'll show you.
No. But I think you have to see them to really understand the true
and they work so well in the story, though. It's like you almost couldn't have the story without it. So it's done very well.
I think this is a masterclass, and if like you're an aspiring writer of film or a filmmaker, you should watch the first 20 minutes of this movie and just see how much world building he does
and how rapidly. Yeah.
Like like you believe that this world exists, right? Because automatically you're introduced to these two main characters. There's some shit going down. Okay.
Yeah, let's
you don't really know. Like we don't have to.
Yeah.
So I mean, I gave a brief plot description, but basically these two brothers find a dead guy in the woods, and then they walk to this house and they find this person in a bed that is out of sorts. Shall we say.
In a bad way.
In a bad way. But
putrid.
With the dialogue in the first 15, 20 minutes, you don't need to be like handheld through what's going on. He does a good job of like explaining to you that you're in this world now. There are some lines in there like when they go into that house, they see the guy that is quote unquote rotten, which is what they call the people that are infected in this world.
Which is basically, if you took the guy from Gluttony and Sloth and Seven and mix them together.
Combine them, that's what the guy looks like. But basically the mother of this guy is praying, and he turns around and screams at him like pretty much churches and God are dead. Like, what are you doing? That obviously says a lot within the first 10 minutes of the movie. And the two main characters like aren't shocked in discovering that this quote unquote rotten person is there.
Yeah.
They're pretty much just asking if it's been reported, like how long has this been going on. So this is clearly something that
did you touch him? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They know what's happening. It's just clearly like established. Like, so this isn't like an origin story. You're immediately put into the middle of this situation from their point of view, which I think is supposed to take place in like rural Argentina, right?
Yeah.
That's where they are, Argentina,
yes.
Which I thought was a really cool way. So like, that's a masterclass in being able to set up like,
it's such a cool concept too,
like,
where like you have possession that spreads like this like highly contagious disease, like where to the point that like I love the rules. You can't kill them with a gun, because then it like just basically disperses to everything around it. You can't use electronics or like electric lights, because then the shadows draw them in. It's fucking nuts, dude. Like this whole thing that is built around it is fucking crazy.
Kind of like if you put like the pathogen that's in like 28 Days Later or the Crazies and just made it a possession instead of a disease, right? Which is a very interesting concept. Like this is,
or even like this. Did you ever watch The Sadness from 2020? That
I still have not seen that movie.
We might have to do that. That's a fucking brutal movie too.
Fair. But I think it's very clear from the get-go that like, so the possession horror movies have been done to death to varying degrees, right? Obviously, The Exorcist is an all-time classic, but you know from watching this movie within the first couple of minutes, this is not going to be 2 or 3 priests standing around a girl tied to a bed who's, fucking herself with a crucifix, screaming, "The power of Christ compels you,"
which is still pretty fucking crazy.
Still pretty crazy, obviously, but it's been done to death, and this is something way different. I mean, is there really even any sort of religious
No
imagery in this at all?
There's no
It's the
religion
death
at
of
all.
religion,
Religion is
basically.
gone because
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
It's destroyed any sort of religion because they were exposed to such evil.
So I thought that was that the first time I watched this movie, that really grabbed me from the get-go. And then obviously things just get so much worse. And
Yeah, they try to move this guy,
yeah.
which is crazy. I remember the first time I watched this, I was like, this dude is about to like spill open.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be
He
horrible.
looks like, it's a big pimple.
You can
Yeah.
smell this guy through the fucking
It's
screen.
disgusting.
And he's somehow, they put him in the back of like a fucking Dodge Ram.
Mhm.
And they're driving. They drive him like 500 kilometers away from where they are. Because basically, this dude that owns all this land is like, the government is doing this. He wants to fuck us because we own land and we're fucking poor.
Which, that's another thing. So the farmer immediately goes to some sort of conspiracy theory about like they're trying to take our land. So like this is something that's been established for a while, and there's
Yeah.
already conspiracy theories about it, which I picked up on that this time watching
Me
it.
too.
Thought that was very interesting. Yeah.
And they take him and they are driving and driving and driving and they swerve when he's not paying attention. There's like a kid walking in the middle of the road. You have to imagine it's during that the dude falls out of the back of the truck because he's got to weigh like fucking 500.
He's a
600.
whale. He's the
Brendan,
whale. He's Brendan Fraser in The Whale, essentially.
And then he's just gone.
Yeah.
Like they're like, what the fuck? So
And
at that point, you just know you're like, okay. And they're all just like, oh fuck, dude.
All hell.
This whole movie is just like a constant series of just like fucking mistakes being made and getting worse and worse. Like everything that Pedro does just fucking fucks shit up even more, dude. He's like the catalyst for everything going wrong.
Yeah.
And that leads us into our next horrible segment.
I was gonna say. I mean, so obviously, like, if you have not seen this movie yet, probably stop here. I mean, all this stuff that we've talked about is in the first like 15, 20 minutes of the movie.
It's the setup.
Yeah, you don't want to. Don't watch it knowing more than that. You'll enjoy the experience.
Yeah,
better,
just there's some like big trigger warnings. Like there's a lot of really harsh violence in this movie,
it's pretty brutal.
including children, including animals. It's
There's
zero.
He doesn't
rules.
discriminate on what he's doing.
I would say I think this movie has at least one, if not two, of the most shocking moments in horror movies in recent memory.
Yeah.
There's also like
I
one
agree.
that's in there that's just so
Maybe more.
There's one that's so subtle that you're just watching, and because of everything that's happened before it, you don't really think anything of it. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, like it's just
Let's throw the spoiler warning.
Yeah, of
up
course.
for now,
I was
and
well.
we'll
I
go
mean,
from here.
I got a couple things I want to ask you guys before we get
Sure,
into full spoilers. But there's one in particular. Like, if you're in horror circles, you're at least aware of like somewhat of what happens. But the first time I watched it, I think I texted both you guys, and I was like, "Holy, when Evil Lurks, shit!"
Yeah.
I fucking didn't know what else to say. And watching it a second time, you also said this yesterday, Matt. It does not.
This is
hurt any less.
This is even the
watching
fourth time I've seen it too.
It's kind of every parent's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And you see it happen. And so that's all I'll say. So.
And broad day, like
Yeah.
full view, broad daylight.
Oh yeah.
This is
Oh,
broad
yeah.
daylight horror.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the best type of horror.
So before we get into spoilers, a couple questions for you guys. So we're talking a lot about Demian Rugna, obviously a very talented director with a very specific vision and how he likes to portray horror. Typically with directors like this, they tend to give them a boatload of money to tack onto some franchise, right? So would you like to see Demian Rugna get like another Exorcist movie or some sort of franchise,
He's making his own-
quote
he's
unquote
making his
franchise movie, or would you like to let him do his own
He's
thing?
making his own
he's
franchise
got-
with what he has going
he's
on.
doing his own thing.
Same,
Yeah.
Not
unanimous
interested.
across the board.
Not
Let him
interested.
do, like I like okay.
Well, that's not going to be.
Yeah.
That's going to be up to him.
I'm
He
not.
may
Yeah.
get the offers, but he has to have the fortitude to be like, you know what? Unless he thinks he can smash.
I don't get the.
I don't
vibe that
want-
I
he's
don't think
interested.
I would
Yeah.
blame him if he did.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Everyone-
what do you
everyone
wanna
loves
sell out?
money.
Yeah, go for
Right?
it. Do
But
it. Make that-
as long as he still has the option to do his own.
But
thing.
here's the thing that I worry about is it's a franchise, so they're going to have their rules, and they're going to be like, "This is great and all, but you're not doing it that way."
Mhm.
And that's
well,
what's
that's
gonna
what
happen.
happens. Yeah.
I feel like he would need to be handed the keys to be able to do.
And
whatever
no
he
one's going to
wanted.
do that.
Yeah.
I've got the keys to the car.
Dude, what if they're just like, here, do what you want to do with the
King of the
mummy.
castle. King of the
Fucking
castle.
see what you can do with that.
Oh man. I mean, oh dude, a Demian Rugna mummy movie? Fucking fuck me up, baby. Let's go.
I know how to
Okay.
get Mike hard.
Last question. What is the more shocking movie? When Evil Lurks or Speak No Evil?
Okay, so
Hard question, I thought.
I was thinking about this today too, because I think that Speak No Evil is that's a harder, like, that you lead up to the last like 15 minutes of that movie. That's harder I haven't been able to go fully watch that whole movie again.
Yeah.
That's harder to rewatch than this. But this movie, front to back, is much more fucking brutal. They're both wicked bleak. And
Yeah.
but this one at
Yeah.
the end of it, I was like, fuck yeah, that movie fucking kicked ass. At the end of Speak No Evil, I was like, that was like the worst fucking thing I've ever put myself through.
I need a
Yeah.
Care Bear stare.
Yeah, so I would say Speak No Evil definitely. I think it holds a lot more weight. It's a much more realistic and just brutal fucking movie.
That could actually happen.
Yeah.
You could go on vacation and make
just
a
meet
couple bad
psychopaths,
decisions. And
Yeah, that could happen tomorrow,
Yeah.
which is why I also
this
think that-
could happen. Seems unlikely that
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. I don't think it might
Some
not
of the
be,
things
may-
in it could happen
yeah,
out of that
like
specific
it could
context.
be like
but yeah.
it could be like COVID, another COVID situation go on where like you're
Not even
weird
that.
shit
Like
happens.
those types of incidents can happen, or
Dogs.
attacks, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like people can do awful things to people, but I think that's isolated from this whole like mythos of this story. But no, Speak No Evil, dude. That I'm not kidding. I've tried to watch that movie again 3 times, and I can't get
the
that.
end of
I
that movie
can't get all
hit-
the way through.
that
it.
end of the
I'm
movie that
telling you,
hit
I
That's the only movie I've ever watched that I can't fucking finish.
that movie literally hits you at the end
it's
like
so
a
bad.
bag of fucking rocks off
Yeah.
the face. It is
Literally.
so
Literally.
Literally. It is just so bleak and just
It's so
sad,
sad,
and you feel
yeah.
so awful, and then you're like, oh, and that's
Seeing a little girl get her tongue cut out is
over.
fucking
Yeah,
not
yeah.
okay.
Obviously,
now
bo-
I
both-
have to go to bed.
spoilers for Speak No Evil, obviously, which the Speak No Evil American remake.
I'm
trailer
actually
already spoiled
kind
for
of-
you pretty much.
The good thing is
I
it's
do wanna
already
see it.
been
I
spoiled.
know. I'm not
I think
gonna
it's going to be
trash
good.
I think
I think it's going to be
fine.
good.
I think
But
it's
they
gonna be
ruined
good
it with the fucking trailers.
too.
And I saw something about that recently. I read an article about what's going on with trailers and why are they giving away so much information.
Mhm.
And there was
People are too
there was
stupid to grab
one
onto the story.
there was one director that they were like, he's doing a really good job of not. Oh, it was about Long Legs
Oscar
and how
Perkins,
what
yeah.
a great
Who's
job
that's
he's
because
done.
it's
Yeah.
direct. It's produced by fucking Neon, dude. It's
Yeah.
not produced by Blumhouse.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
I can't either.
But
I'm
that's
so
we
excited.
digress. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, yeah. When Evil Lurks and Speak No Evil, both incredibly hard movies to watch if you have kids or if you don't like to watch violence against kids. So I think everybody can agree on that it's not a fun thing. But hey, you know what? Fucking man up. Horror is
I know.
about
I do
feeling
gotta rewatch
uncomfortable.
it.
You know what? Like, no, I'm not saying you.
I know.
just
I'm saying it to myself. Anyway.
in general, people watch horror to feel uncomfortable and feel scared. And just because something makes you too scared doesn't necessarily mean that
Oh,
you shouldn't watch
You
it.
know what's funny is I've been like every time I have the chance to watch a movie, I look at that movie, The Coffee Table.
Oh,
Oh,
And
I
I
wanna
almost
watch
rent
that.
it. I
Yeah,
almost rent it, and I'm like,
is
I
it
don't-
available now?
Yeah, you can rent it on
Yeah.
Prime.
Okay.
I saw it the other day.
Dude, it's
You
from
watched
what
it?
I've
No, I saw it on Prime, and I was like, it reminded me of The Coffee Table book by Kramer.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I completely got it spoiled for me, but I do know like a situation about it, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it. I got to do it, but I'm just like every time I'm like, nope, I'm not ready.
Let's plan a movie night.
I'll watch.
You
I'll
watch it
right?
while at the same
We
time.
should. We
Yeah.
should do that. We should just
Because
rent
it was
at the
fun.
same
What
time.
were we watching that time where we were all literally watching
Fly.
The Fly.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
right on cue. I was like, this is fun.
We should try to do that more often.
Oh,
That was way
speaking
more
of which,
fun.
this can be edited out if you're not comfortable talking about it. But did your buddy say anything more about doing a live thing at that brewery that we were talking about that time?
No, but I'll talk to him.
Okay, we should do that. That'd be a lot
Because
of
he
fun.
just took me on for a bunch of gigs. He definitely is interested in doing
Okay,
it, though.
we should do that. Yeah, Andrew, I'll take one too. So I would say at this point we are delving full into spoiler
Yes.
territory for When
This might be a
Evil
long
Lurks.
episode.
So if you have not seen this movie, go
watch
use
it.
your Shudder subscription, go watch it, and come back. We'll still be here.
Grow
Pause.
up and watch this movie.
Hey, and if you don't have Shudder, and like you're a horror fan,
You can still rent it, I think.
you
just
can
pay
rent
for
it, but
yeah.
it's like you could also just get Shudder for the same fucking price.
And then cancel your subscription. So
it's
is that
literally $6.99 a month.
is that
It's
like
cheap.
the new Barbenheimer? Is that the When Evil Speaks? Is that when we're
Oh, dude, I don't know, man.
Oh wow,
That'd be a
Oh, God.
ruthless
that's
fucking
the horror
double
fans.
bill.
Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a double bill.
Oh man, dude, you'd have to like fucking take a spa day after that.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda wanna do that now.
Yeah.
I kind of want to ruin my next Sunday. I'm just gonna
Oh,
do that.
God.
Oh man.
All right, well, yeah, full spoilers for When Evil Lurks at this point. So obviously, we've talked a lot about it, and I don't even know where to go from here. But essentially, we talked about the fact that there is some sort of an infection that is I guess a sort
Evil
of possession
yeah.
by people that spreads. And I think that I was talking to Andrew about this before you came over, Matt. I think there are at least 3, if not maybe 4 scenes in this movie that stand out.
There's one when I watched it last night that for some reason I never picked up on before.
Mhm.
And it's subtle. But dude, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't fucking get it, dude.
Wonder if it's the same one I'm thinking of.
Well, okay, so he goes and he tries to pick up his kids at his wife's house.
Yes.
They clearly had an ugly divorce. She has a restraining order against him, but he knows that shit's hitting the fan.
Before you go there, real
Yeah.
quick. So obviously the first one is the first rotten person that you
Yeah.
encounter, right? So obviously that's the first one. It's disgusting. That
Oh, yeah,
kicks off
yeah.
the movie right there. I think number 2 is the goat
Yeah.
scene, which we'll get to. Number 3 is the dog scene. And after that, there's a bunch of fucking stuff. So I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah,
We'll get to all of that.
You have Ruiz who goes and they try to move that body. He goes back, and one of his goats is like, his pregnant wife is freaking out that one of their goats, she's like, this is it. Like, it happened. Like, this goat's possessed. He shoots off a gun, and all of them scram except that one, and it's just staring him down, dude. And you're not supposed to shoot these things because it just spreads
releases.
immediately.
Yeah.
And so he shoots the goat and blows its fucking head. Like, it was like Django. You ever see Django Unchained?
Oh yeah.
At the very beginning of that
Yeah.
movie, when he shoots the horse and it's like, and I was like, oh my God, dude. I remember the first time I saw Django and that happened, I was like, oh man,
Yeah,
we are in it. But, and it kills the goat, and then immediately, dude, his wife just fucking nails him in the throat with an axe,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
turns it around on herself and just fucking hits herself like right in the
That
fucking
was-
forehead like 6 times.
That was the
dude.
scene when I was watching this video. I was like, holy
Yeah,
fucking
dude, that's when
shit.
even me too, because I knew that it was supposed to be brutal. I didn't know too much about it the first time I watched it, but when I saw that, I was like, okay, like this is
We-
what we're
this is what's happening.
This is
Yeah.
what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
And she's pregnant. Also,
Yeah,
did we
yeah,
mention
very
that?
pregnant,
Yeah, very
yeah.
much so.
Always got to mix in the pregnant people. They
So-
love doing that in horror movies. I don't
They do.
understand.
foreign horror movies,
Um,
especially.
and-
Especially.
I never noticed it before until my wife was pregnant, until I had a baby. But there's so much pregnant shit in horror. It's crazy
Because that's
because it makes
I mean,
people
it makes-
super
it makes-
fucking uncomfortable.
what's going to make
scared,
you
yeah.
really uncomfortable.
But it's also funny that image of her with the axe is what's on the poster
Oh,
for
yeah,
this fucking
so
movie.
good. That
There's
poster-
a lot of really good.
I want to get that poster.
There's a lot of really good promotional photos for this movie. My favorite was the little girl just holding the dog's leash. Like, so you go from there and you follow Pedro and Jimmy as they go to get Pedro's kids from his ex-wife. She's remarried and they have their own daughter. He has a young son and an older son that's like severely like nonverbal autistic that he's trying to get and just get him the fuck out of there. He goes in the house, strips off all his clothes. He's like, I need new clothes. These clothes are fucked. And you see this like giant dog, dude. It's like a big mastiff. I don't know what kind of dog it is.
A dog,
Beautiful dog.
dog
de
de Bordeaux.
That's what it is.
Dog
Yeah.
de Bordeaux.
And so he's sniffing around in the clothes, and immediately you're like, that's not good. Nope. Like, and so the way this scene plays out is so unbelievably fucking well done. It's one of those things that it's like, it's going to happen. you know what's gonna happen, and it just keeps kind of like keeping you on that fucking fishing line for a little bit longer, to the point that you're like, what the fuck? So there's chaos, dude. That everyone's yelling at each other and screaming, and you just kind of keep seeing glimpses of this dog. And then they have their little daughter come over to the dog, just innocently petting it. She's like 4, and
She might even be younger than that, because I think the other kid's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, she's small.
Yeah.
And just petting the dog, dude. And finally, the thing just fucking lunges at her, grabs her, and drags her away.
Oh my god!
And the little boy comes down because he's like, "Oh shit!" And you get this fucking angle from underneath the table where he like goes under to see it, and you just see this dog just whipping this girl around by her like face and neck, and just blood is going everywhere, and you're like, that's the worst fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, just I have a daughter, 2-year-old, and a big dog, and I'm like, that's my worst fucking nightmare.
Obviously, same.
Yeah.
I have a daughter that's very young and also a very big dog.
My God,
as you know from listening to him on such episodes as this. And I remember the first time that we watched this movie, you texted me, Matt, and you were like, "There's something in that you're gonna fucking hate." And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued, but I'm also very fucking nervous. And I'm like,
yeah, I was rattled by that. And so then like everyone realizes what's happening, dude. The dad, Leo, like her new husband's reaction is dude, like your blood goes fucking cold. It's so sad and it's so scary. And dude, he like runs out the door like he's got a fucking, like he stole a piece of pizza off somebody's plate. Like just like books it out the door, and you're like, holy fuck, dude. Like just drags her out. And now they're running after it, and then he runs after it with a gun, and he's like, don't fucking kill the dog. And then from there, you're like, okay, this is fucking crazy, but it gets fucking worse.
Yeah. That's impressive, because you think it cannot possibly get worse.
The only thing I can compare this scene specifically, this is like a 10-minute scene. This whole thing, it's like the RV scene in The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
It feels so fucking long, which is how it's intended
to
feel.
It is, but it's not
feels long. Like, it's just like, oh my god, like, no, please, no, make it stop.
So they have that all happen, dude. And the thing that gets you is like, you're like, holy fuck, dude, this dog just ripped this fucking little girl to shreds. And you watched it happen.
Oh, yeah.
And then the dad chases after it, and then all of a sudden the girl's back at the house and she's fine.
You're like,
right?
And you're like,
sure,
okay. So it throws, it kind of like throws you on your own head. And you're like, all right, what the fuck is going on? And then you see the dad come barreling back with the truck, smokes the fucking girl and her mom into the house. And you're like, holy shit. And then the girl still is like fucking dancing around, dude. Yeah. And that's when the dad, Pedro, he's got the 2 kids and takes her car, and he's like, let's get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yep.
Bounce. And dude, and he's coerced the older boy with autism into the car finally. And dude, it's just absolute chaos, that whole scene. And then you kind of get a little break for like a lull. You get a little backstory of like what's going on and how you're supposed to deal with these things, and that it's kind of like they pick up Jimmy and Pedro are brothers. They pick up their mom. She's kind of confused, doesn't really seem to really have all of her faculties about her. And she's like, oh, like, you know, the rotten, that's just shit that happened in the city. Like, that's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. Nope. And she's kind of like singing a little tune to, what's his name? Santino or Santiago. And because he's asking all these questions about it, and she knows like that it's a thing, and they end up going to this lady's house Mirta, who is they call them cleaners, and they're the people that can kill the rotten correctly and like basically eradicate them.
Which is who the guy that the 2 brothers find at the beginning of the movie. That's who the guy that's
trying
dead.
To do that.
He's one of the cleaners. Yes.
Which, oh, by the way, we skipped an important part.
Santino.
There's a boy who is brothers with Uriel, who's the big guy that was fucking rotten. That dude, that little kid, comes to Jimmy and Pedro's house, and he's like, I want to stay here. I don't want to be home. And they're like, all right, go stay in the barn. And then when the sun comes up, fucking skedaddle. And so that happens and just kind of they leave and that's that. But when they get to Mirtha's house and she's kind of explaining all these things, like, you know, you can't use electricity. You can't use, like, her whole house there's no electricity. And she keeps saying to Jimmy about the older brother, Jair or whatever his name is, and who has the one with autism, that she's like, he's a rotten. And he's like, no, he's nonverbal. That's just how he is. Like, she's like, no, watch. And she shows him and his hands are like unnaturally like bending.
Yeah.
And she's like, they get of these kinds of people and they can't figure out their like brain and they can't get out and they don't know what to do. And like, that's like that when they get stuck inside them, they're just stuck in them and that's it. And so and he's like, no, dude, like, he's just like, this is just how he is. It is what it is. So you're kind of like, okay, that's like weird. And I didn't, until this last watch, I like kind of was like, why does she keep bringing this up? Like, this must mean something. And so that's when Sabrina comes back looking for her kids. And that's where you get even fucking more fucked up. So this is where I'll let you guys chit chat about this. Cause this kill is fucking, oh man. Dude.
So is this the kill that you're talking? Like, so I don't know which scene you're actually talking about.
When Sabrina comes back and she
jumps
takes
out
Santino,
the window
yeah.
with Santino, and then they're gone.
Yeah,
but then
Jimmy's
goes in the car,
yeah.
and she's walking by, just eating like the kid's brain.
Oh
yeah, dude.
That's the most fucking just subtly disturbing.
It's
thing.
crazy.
I was like,
dude,
oh God!
He's just, dude. His whole head is just fucking like an open bucket of like.
Dude, this has to be all practical.
It looks like
it all looks practical. I mean, it is so well done.
So
Andrew,
Andrew,
got a little image here, buddy.
So if that is what we would call a professional tease, Andrew. So listener, I know this is not good imagery for you here. We're looking at the December 2023 issue of Fangoria with It's a Wonderful Knife on the cover. This would be
Volume 2.
Volume 2. What issue? What? 22.
Winter 2024.
I'm on page 63. There is a huge thing here about the practical effects in When Evil Lurks. They're all practical. Everything in here is practical.
See, that's what makes it so good.
And like, if you look at some of these pictures, you can see like the work they did, but it's just like they talk about like everything. Like the first rotten guy, huge thing on that, to the, you know, pretty much everything else.
Which you don't see Sabrina really. Like, you get a glimpse of her at night.
Mm-hmm.
Her face is all busted up, but you don't see this image here.
Yeah,
she's
this
like
is
right after.
There's definitely some stuff here like that you don't see in the movie, and you get some quotes like from Demian Rugna. Like, so like that's another one there. Like, yeah. So there's a lot in here. If you're a Fangoria subscriber, this is definitely an issue you want to go back and look at if you are listening to this episode, because there's some really good stuff in here.
That's what makes Fangoria fucking the best too.
Because this is all exclusive stuff. Like, obviously we're an affiliate of Fangoria, so you know, if you want to buy some merchandise from them, you can do that. I mean, it's at the beginning of every single one of our episodes. You get a discount through us. But they do have some very very good exclusives. Like, you can't see these photos that we're looking at here right now anywhere else, and these quotes from Demian Rugna. But like, obviously, like, Demian Rugna is a sick fuck.
Yeah, he's got a lot of crazy.
He's up
imagery
there with some of the scariest fucking scares of all time.
Yeah,
like
but
the one, the other, the fucking Terrified was fucking atrocious.
Terrified is all. I mean, what do you consider to be the better movie? Terrified or When Evil Lurks?
When Evil Lurks. It's
When
much
Evil
more
Lurks,
structured.
Yeah,
you think
Terrified
so?
is great, but
Terrified's
it seems
good,
a
but this is
little.
better.
It's all over the place, kind of.
This story is very, very, very well constructed.
I'm okay. So I'm glad we disagree here, because I actually think Terrified is scarier than this.
Yeah, I think
it's scarier, but
scarier.
I think I enjoy that movie slightly better.
I think this is a better film.
Yeah, I think like in terms of like watching this movie story wise, I think it's got a very, very, very tight story. That was why I really wanted to go in depth on this one.
I'm surprised you don't have like a plastic sleeve for this, Michael.
So Fangoria does actually sell sleeves for these, which I don't need
my TV guy. Episode 12, volume.
I keep all mine just kind of together. They're in good shape. They're pretty. They're pretty fucking.
Because the mailman fucking crinkles his.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. The fucking asshole mailman.
I would be pissed.
Fuck you. Yeah, seriously, just fucking stuffs it in there, bent it like a fucking 90-degree angle, like an asshole. Fuck off.
My mail lady puts it in between my screen door and my door. Which is sick. She's really nice.
yeah.
I
Good
don't
mail
know her
lady.
name.
Good mail lady.
Anyway, so he finds Sabrina eating Santino's brains pretty much, and he decides to just ram her with his car. And that's really like, you're like, okay, man, like there is just no fucking remorse or any sort of regret to just take out anyone at any time. Meanwhile, Pedro and I keep forgetting her name. Mirta she has like the like basically this technology that they use is like this weird, like
looks like a big
compass or something. Yeah. And so she has this, and she's like, we need to like go towards the school. She's like, evil love children and children love evil. She's like, I bet if that rotten got in there, that's where it is. And basically what the rotten is going to do is it's going to birth like this like demon antichrist thing. That's what they have to stop from happening. This whole thing is like a gestation period of that coming
he's
to
about to explode with the birth of
it's based it's like a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And so they go to this school, and it's just full of like possessed children. And while they're there, this was the fucking thing that I was talking about before, because they go through all this thing, and it's just the grandmother and Jair. I keep forgetting how to. Yeah, it's like Jair.
I think it's Jair.
It might be Jair. So, but them two are the only ones left, and he was like kind of just like staying in the car because he doesn't talk. He's hard to kind of communicate with. He draws like pictures.
Yeah,
and they go leave, so it's just them two left at Mirta's house. And out of nowhere, dude, the grandmother's sitting on the couch, and she's kind of like clutching this necklace. And Jair just walks in, dude, and he's like, I'm hungry. Like, what are we gonna do to eat? And you just see, and like for some reason, I don't know why, I just never picked up on that. I think I might have thought it was like Jimmy or something when I watched it before, or maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. When I watched it last night, I was like, whoa, dude, that's one of the creepiest parts of the whole fucking movie. Yeah, it's because he's nonverbal this whole time, and then he just casually walks in and he's just talking. And the grandmother
horrifying.
The grandmother sees him, and she's just like clutches her like necklace, and you see her visibly like breathing deeply. And so that kind of gets sidelined for a little bit.
Well, imagine being in that situation.
Dude, it's what a subtle fucking thing to happen that you're like, whoa.
Yeah, someone that you've known
and
for their entire life that's never spoken a word, and all of a sudden.
And after you have this lady like arguing, like he's possessed, and they're like, dude, no, he just has like autism, it's like kind of fucked up. Yeah. But and they go through. Well, dude, when I saw that last night, I rewound it because I was like, and I paused. I was like, that is fucking him, dude. I was like, how did I not fucking see this before?
Yeah.
And so Mirta and Pedro go to the school, and that's where like shit hits the fan. And the whole time, dude,
Pedro's fucking useless.
Yeah, this is where it gets really frustrating because everything she tells him to do, he just doesn't fucking do it. He's like, they end up realizing that all these kids are possessed, and she's like, he's away from there, and she's like, Mirta's like, don't listen to them. They're gonna lie to you because they're gonna try and divert you to get you away from the rotten, where who's gonna give birth to this Antichrist thing. And so they go into the school. They end up, the kids are like covered in like lye.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's super creepy, dude.
Creepy.
Yeah.
And because they're hiding the smell, they killed this, and it was cool. It was kind of like a Children of the Corn like nod.
Yeah.
They kill all the parents and teachers and all the adults basically, and they nailed them all in under the like stage at the school.
Wow.
So he starts ripping up all the boards, and you see all these people, and finally he finds that dude, the rotten, and he's just in there, and he's still alive. And so she's like, oh, she's like putting this fucking gigantic thing together. And she's like, I got to get like the nape of his neck. And like, I don't know what she's got to like shoot him with it or something, but either way.
It's kind of unclear.
Yeah. And it's like, you never really get to see how that thing works. So
also, like, how the fuck does he pull that thing out of there?
that he can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, pull him out. I'm like, yeah, pull him out.
And then the
wail.
little girl's like yelling at him. She's like, there's like an axe in the other room. Like, go get it. And Mirta's like, don't listen to her, dude. And Pedro goes and fucking gets
He's
it.
like, oh, the
There's another
axe.
part too where she's like, go get all my stuff. Don't
run.
rush.
And
Don't
he fucking
run.
runs.
And he starts to, and she's like, don't rush. And he walks out. And then it cuts to him outside. And he's like, finishes running
like,
to the truck.
yeah.
It's like, Jesus
That movie's
Christ.
so bad. I was
dude.
like, Pedro, you should die immediately. I hate you.
By the by, Demian Rugna might pull off creepy kids as effective as anybody in horror from
So
Those remind me-
subtly too.
Those remind me of the
It's-
kids in Sinister. In that scene when they're
Or
at
like
the
Village of the
Babadook,
Damned.
and that
like,
too.
what's the orphanage,
yeah,
that scene.
that's
That's-
probably got to be
Yeah,
a good influence too.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's a really good.
they
That
come
was the
back-
one that was in the Shudder Countdown
Yeah.
series.
I think it's like 99 or
Which, by
like
the way, this came out afterwards.
Yeah.
So no.
the he goes to look for that axe. It's obviously not there. They lock him in this room, which they all attack Mirta, drag her away, and like, dude, it's just a little girl just like hitting her in the forehead with like a fucking ball peen hammer.
Oh yeah,
Like, and with like the strength that like a little girl would
Yeah,
have. So it's a bunch of fucking times, dude, and you're like, holy shit. So that's another pretty fucking brutal kill that kind of goes like under the radar towards the end. And then finally he's like, oh, this is glass. I can break it with a chair. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
he's
dude.
an idiot. I hated him. Though.
And then this
Most
part,
of the movie.
this part's made me laugh every single time that I've watched this movie. It's when he goes back over to the stage and Uriel, the rotten, he just like kind of like pokes his head up from like the hole in the stage, and he just looks like a Mr. Potato Head, like the way his head's shaped, and he's just like,
What's up, bro?
yeah.
What's going on?
And so he takes the thing, he smashes it, his head in
Yeah,
like hard as fuck with like a piece of that,
Mhm.
like that machinery, and that's when everything just goes to shit.
yeah, because
like,
that's what you're not supposed to do. Again, Pedro,
dude,
did you
he
listen
just-
to
he just
anything anybody
blows it.
said?
He just he doesn't make a single good decision in the entire movie.
It almost makes the movie unbelievable because you couldn't imagine being with someone that is that fucking stupid.
But that
Where
like
someone is literally
that
like,
sure that they're doing the right thing.
don't run.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay.
See, I
And he
almost,
starts to run, and they go, no, don't run. And he's like, faster?
like a kid.
Fucking see you
It's like
later,
a little
buddy."
kid.
Yeah, he's-
Yeah.
I feel like he's almost kind of like the archetype of like one of those like hyper masculine assholes. That
yeah, kind of, except just the dumbest person that's ever lived.
like nobody that I know would act like that. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Like, I mean, granted, there's not a possession plague
Yeah.
end of the
That
world
guy
scenario
well,
happening in my neighborhood.
You know what
but, you
is
know.
very possible too is he could have been one of those people that maybe was on a lot of medication. And medication ran out. And there's no.
I think
fucking
it's
CVS
insinuated that he's
pharmacy,
it's insinuated that he's like a drunk.
and he's just got wet brain.
It seems
Maybe,
seems
yeah.
about right.
He's just
But,
a fucking wet brain.
Like it seems like his life is really shitty. And so I don't know. But either way,
still
this child gets like born. And basically it just looks like a regular boy, but he's like a full-grown like 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That comes out of this like guy. And so all the kids kind of follow him around. He leaves like this like 3-fingered stripe of blood like right over the top of like Pedro's forehead.
It's also a very popular image if you Google this movie.
Yeah.
yeah, that one.
And walks out into like and just kind of like walks across like the horizon in the like morning sunlight.
that's what I love.
And you're
about
like,
this
holy
movie.
shit.
Yeah.
And you just see this like whole look on Pedro's face. He's like, we just fucking blew this so hard.
Are we gonna get a second one?
No.
So
I don't think so.
okay,
That's
I was
what I'm
gonna-
curious.
I was
So
going to
there's
ask.
no-
There's a big thing that happens at the end of this movie, but Mike, go ahead.
Oh, we missed that.
This feels like watching this movie based on the fact of what I said about how they establish a whole thing, a whole story within
Universe.
the first 15, 20 minutes. This would be ripe for a prequel.
That's
Or
what
a
I would
sequel?
say.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would love.
Would
that.
you like to see it? Because I don't know that I would. I feel like this is kind of perfect on its own.
I just wouldn't mind if he made another movie that just exists
If
in
he-
this
if
universe.
he did it,
universe?
yeah.
Well, obviously,
he did
who
it.
else is gonna do it?
Some fucking stooge from some studio. Yeah, dude, you kidding?
Stooge Studio.
asshole.
Stooge Studio.
Some
No.
fucking some blonde.
Yeah, no, I mean,
douchebag.
yeah, if he did something in the same universe, he could do whatever the fuck he wants. It could
Yeah.
be just a fucking 2-hour, just I don't know. Fuck.
He's up there. Like I'll watch anything that he does.
Yeah.
yeah.
So this was part of like where I like just didn't really pick up the first time I watched this. And they go back home, like to their house, and Jimmy's in the barn, and that boy that was the brother of Uriel is still there. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, how are you still even alive? And he's like, well, and he explains, he's like, when Uriel was possessed, like I had a voice in my head that was telling me like I had to let it keep going. And I went out and I killed the guy that was going to come, like the cleaner that was going to come and take care of him. I cut him in half. That's the fucking guy that gets cut in half at the beginning of the movie that they see.
Yep.
And he goes, well, what happened to your mom? And he goes, well, I ate her. And he's like, well, what the fuck? So he's like, and Jimmy's like, well, what about Jair and my mother? And he's like, well, she met the same fate. And you're like, what the fuck? So then you remember, you're like, holy shit, dude. So then it goes to the end scene where he finally gives Jair, he keeps promising like apple ice cream. That's how he's like coercing him to like go places.
Weirdest ice cream I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
and he gives that to him. He starts choking on it, and he goes over and he starts like hawking up like blood and like hairballs, and then it's like pieces of like scalp.
Yeah.
And then you see that necklace that she was clutching like drip
yeah,
out of her mouth,
yeah.
dude. Because the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Dude. So he devoured the fucking grandmother. And that's the end of the movie. And it's just like he goes outside and he cries, and it's just like, dude, like it is such a
like
fucking devastating end to this whole story.
You need a cigarette in an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus
and like
Christ.
so I that was super long-winded. I literally just explained the entire movie. But
it's fine.
I wanted to do that because this whole story
really wasn't that long. It's okay.
No, you did it very expedited. It was actually a very
well. That's what I'm saying.
Very well done.
This is to everyone.
I was entertained.
This is everyone that's seen the movie. So,
yeah.
But you have all this stuff happen, dude, and it's just like this. This is all just to prove, like, in terms of like how fucking brutal this movie was. This is a 2023 release. It was my favorite of the year. I think I was saying before the show, this might be one of my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time.
That's a crazy statement, but I respect it. It's top 5 all time.
Not top 5, top 10.
Top 10.
Yeah.
That's still.
I would have to sit down and sharpen my pencil and really think about what is in there. But this could be in there.
Your number one of all time clearly is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like Rosemary's Baby is also in your top 3, and probably The Exorcist.
Halloween.
Right?
Not Rosemary's
Halloween.
Baby. Exorcist is in my top 3.
Jaws.
No.
Alien.
No.
He's not an alien guy as much as I am. I know that for a fact.
I got Halloween up there.
Irreversible.
No.
He's keep in mind, Matt is the
he is
Matt
the
loves
slasher
slashers.
king.
Matt
The
loves
slasher
slashers.
I'll write it
Freddy-
all out for
Freddy-
you, and
little
we
Freddy
can
action in there.
post it
If
on
we
the thing.
all were to come up with our top 10 of all
I would
time,
need like
I'd
a
have
week.
such
I need like
a hard time.
I need
Well,
a
let's save
week
that.
to
Maybe
fucking
we can
come up
save
Maybe
that
we can do
for
that.
the,
We could actually do. There's an episode and we go down our list and we all pick our top 5.
we could save
And then we
this.
start
Maybe
at 5, and it's not even a draft, but it's
Mhm.
this is
It's an open discussion. But
Just
yeah,
be
no,
like,
this
be real. Mhm.
this might be in my top 10. This
It's
is
pretty fucking good.
after the few times I've watched it, and now that it's really all this reminded me of the time that I watched Pulp Fiction for like the 5th or 6th time, and I was like, oh my god, dude, like, and
Bro.
everything just like clicked for me
Do
in
you
terms
get
of like
that what's in the box is like his soul?
well, it was just like that, like it just clicked, like the whole like I like made sense of like the chronological order of the story.
Yeah.
And I just like understood like the general theme of the movie, and I was like, this is the best fucking movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was just like when everything kind of clicked for me last night watching this, I was like, this is a fucking masterpiece of a fucking horror movie.
Yeah, it's good.
It's got
really
everything.
good.
It's got a good story. It's got twists. It's got absolutely brutal fucking violence. It's got just it's such a fucking scary situation that you would never want to be a part of.
No,
It's
thanks. I was just
fucking
I would
nuts,
just
dude.
kill myself.
I think if you're a horror fan and you watch this movie, it certainly gives you pretty much everything you want, like you just said.
that's what
Like
I'm
there's
saying,
kind of no doubt about it, right?
There's really the only thing that really gets in.
No boobs.
Like-
That's the only thing.
Yeah, there's no boobs. But the only other thing that really like you can get frustrated with is like Pedro's poor decisions, and then like
Yeah, but
but that's part of the story because that
That's-
makes the story happen.
I can
That's a
suspend
narrative you need.
disbelief.
But
for
the
that,
other
yeah.
thing too is like you're like, what? Like, where did this come from? Like, how does this like? You don't really have like a
origin.
You don't really understand like what it is and what it came
I
from.
think
You just
that's
I
kinda
feel
get
like
right.
dropped.
I know, but I feel like
Yeah, it's not-
because
it's
I
not
feel like an
worse, yeah.
origin for that would be cheesy and weird.
I just
It
thinking
wouldn't
if I
work.
had to pick one thing that you're like, fuck, I kind of wish I at least like knew something about the origin of this, or at least like it would be cool to get to see them get a little bit further with that like mechanism that's supposed to take the guy out,
Yeah.
but they just don't.
See,
and
I
you just
thought-
like you
I
have no
thought the
idea how
lady-
this thing's supposed to
I
work.
thought the lady in Terrified had the same mechanism at one point in the movie, and she didn't.
I agree
Similar,
because
though.
there's something they have
Weird.
some weird kind of like keys and shit like
yeah,
that
and I'm like, what are you using? And then
when they're
there's-
all in the house and the
Yeah.
detectives in there. And but that's why I'm like, dude, I think these are in the same like
Mhm.
realm of like what's going
100%.
on.
Nothing would surprise me less than that. Finding that out.
All right.
Actually was
I'm gonna take a break because I want to let you guys kind of
No.
chat because I just want fucking this.
No, I
This
mean,
reminded me of the
we
episode we
fucking-
did about possession where I just like fucking completely broke down the whole story.
fun.
which is fine because
Sometimes
it's a
I
great
feel like
breakdown.
with
I
this
mean,
type of
thank you.
movie, obviously in subtitles, so the average idiot might have a hard time. Not that people that are
No,
listening,
you
are
just have to
idiots.
be paying attention.
You have to
the
pay
entire
attention.
time.
You can't be on your phone. You have to read what's going on. And I feel like
That's where I
actually
miss
like
stuff.
Yeah.
understanding the dialogue and like reading it, I feel like that is where you will get a deeper appreciation of this movie.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning, like you understand that like the story is deeper than it's just something. It's just like it's not just something
No,
that
it's
spreads. Like it's like this
something.
has been happening. They're aware of it. They know what to do. They're doing some shit they probably shouldn't be doing, and they're doing
And they
it
know
anyway.
that. Yeah.
Right.
The other thing too, just on your note about like subtitle movies,
Yeah.
it forces you to kind of like you're like your senses are buzzing because
Yeah.
you're already watching a movie, you're already seeing imagery, but to read it, you're also using another part of your brain, and you're digesting actual.
Because you're
Dare I
worried. You're
say-
worried. You're worried if you miss like a couple sentences, and you have. It's not like you heard it and you kind of have like something. You have no idea.
Well,
You missed-
Well, that,
if
yeah.
you're
not
an
looking at the
obsessive-
screen, no, but if you're not looking at the screen and someone is having a conversation and you miss a conversation,
Mhm.
that could be
That
very
ruin-
important.
that could ruin the movie for you.
Yeah,
It could have been the whole
exposition.
reason, yeah. So it's you have
Um,
to be paying.
Dare I
constant attention.
say, for Americans, movies with subtitles are the new like theater going experience because you have to actually fucking pay attention and actually figure out what the fuck's going on.
I wish movie theaters would put subtitles on the screen.
You know
mean-
what's funny? I watch them.
Oh,
I watch movies with subtitles no matter what now, and it's not because
Same.
It's because I have a kid and I got used to it when she was napping, so that I'd have to watch something quietly.
I do
Well,
it because
so
I do it
I
because
just
a
wanna
lot
hear
of
what they're
times
saying.
in movies I've noticed that the background noise is a lot louder than the dialogue.
Yeah.
And I find myself missing a lot
That
of
too.
dialogue. So there's that. And then also I usually am paying more attention and you pick up on a lot more with even if you're hearing it, like you said, if you're seeing it, it's a whole different part of your brain that's using its brain and the brain is braining out.
There's certain
Yeah.
times in movies too where there's dialogue that isn't as audible,
Yeah.
and you hear it, you see it in the subtitles,
Yeah.
and it ends up being kind of an important thing.
Which is weird.
Or even sometimes, like when you're watching something in subtitles, if it's a random character that has not been in a scene for a couple scenes, it'll say character name : line, right? So you might not have known if you're watching this movie for the first time that somebody else other than one of the main characters is saying this line. So
Yeah.
it actually
Oh,
does that
yeah.
for you too, which I've actually noticed of all things. I noticed it watching X-Men 97 the other day, which
Yeah.
is fucking awesome,
I've
and
heard
everybody
a
should
lot of
watch it.
people really
I
like that.
fucking love that. But as of this recording, the finale is out in about
Like you got a stain
3
in your
hours.
pants.
I
Oh, that's
do.
just semen.
It's a little yogurt stain in my pants for X-Men 97.
Big fat load.
Anyway.
Dirt.
But yeah, I feel like sometimes subtitles, most of the time subtitles are great. Not all the time, but I'm a big subtitle guy.
Yeah,
The
I've
only
adapted.
time subtitles are the only time I'm off subtitles is when there's subtitles already
Mhm.
on what you're watching, and then they
Oh,
throw
oh,
subtitles
of
over it.
course.
Like if it's like you're watching like a documentary and they're like, "Oh, this guy's talking,"
Yeah.
and it's like
yeah,
in
yeah.
Spanish, and you're like, "I can't see what he's saying."
Well,
Yeah,
I
it makes
will
me
give
so mad.
you and your mullet credit that you're the one that was like, oh yeah, I watch like
Yeah.
Hulu and Netflix all the time
Everything.
in subtitles, and I was like, really?
Yeah, I do too.
And
just
now I do it all the fucking time.
I know
I've-
a lot of people that
yeah.
actually do now. It's definitely like it's trending. It's
Yeah.
becoming more of a popular
Well,
thing to
No,
do.
because I'm telling you, it's the volume is so
Yeah.
fucking
People
off.
don't want to. A
Weird,
lot of
yeah.
people are living in like
They're
apartments.
not gonna
that they don't wanna
blast
be
it. It's
assholes. And
all
be
of a
super
sudden
loud.
there's like just this musical. It's like blasting, and then the guys. It's Tenet. Tenet's the
Or
number
it's
one
like-
movie. Have you ever seen Tenet?
You
I have
cut to
not
like a
seen
really
Tenet yet,
randomly
no.
like explicit
The worst
sex scene,
movie
too.
you'll ever watch. That is the reason why you should watch movies in subtitles. Because Tenet, the background noise was so fucking loud, and they
Yeah, I
talked
heard about
inaudibly
that.
loud. And I started to
still
finish,
wanna
and I was
watch
like,
that, yeah.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what anybody's saying.
But the other
Well,
thing-
the problem.
yeah.
I was gonna say, so like I went over to my parents' house with my daughter like recently, and I put on something on Netflix that I had been watching on my Netflix account with my parents, and the subtitles came on, and my dad was like, "The fuck you doing?" I was like, what do you mean?" He's like, "Why the fuck do you
Get
have
all the books off the TV.
Why do you have subtitles on?" I was like,
Be
"Oh,
a real boomer and
I was
pretend you
like-
can
I
hear.
was like,
Yeah.
I
Just turn it up to 100.
I was like, I was like, I just
Wake the
kind of do it
neighborhood.
now. And he was
Yeah.
like, really? I was like, yeah. And I was like, anyway, oh, there goes Bridget. All right, I'm going to stop talking about this now because I don't know what else to say. But yeah, I mean, I get people that make fun of it, but I also think
No,
it's
the people that make fun of
beneficial.
it have no idea what they're
It's
talking about.
beneficial for the
yeah.
movie watching experience, I think.
It's just beneficial in general because then you can watch something. and not
I'm
make
always so
everybody-
conscious about
Yeah,
how
you're gonna be
loud what
the
I'm watching
noise,
is.
yeah.
So
That makes sense. I'm all about just. I like everything about it because you get.
I think it does force you
You're
to
paying attention.
lock into the movie too.
Dude, you're paying, and you're also if you're invested. It's not even like it's there. You're not even really
You get used
reading it.
to
It's
it,
just
yeah.
so second nature after
Yeah,
a while.
you get
I remember
used
the
to it.
first movie I saw was Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hidden Penis. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Penis.
Knew that was coming.
Yeah, that was the first one I watched. It took me like I watched the movie and I was like, I didn't see anything because I was reading
Oh,
it.
what the?
It was like,
Sorry, go ahead.
lose your bet.
No, I just saw that Tom Brady released a statement saying he regretted doing the Tom Brady roast.
Who gives
Oh.
a shit?
What a
What a
fucking
bitch.
bitch.
Yeah,
Seriously,
that's a
shut
bitch
the
move.
fuck up,
Didn't
you
look like
asshole.
He didn't look like he regretted it while he was doing it.
Hey,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah, it did.
He's got Giselle fucking bomb texting him right now, sending
Oh, did
15
he?
in a row. Being,
Yeah.
No, he didn't do it.
Well, he was
I'll
asking.
read
He
it.
was also whispering, like, "Please don't talk."
No, the
about
only
he
thing
got
he-
fried.
Robert
The only
Kraft.
thing he objected to was the Robert Kraft shit.
Yeah.
Dude,
because he
Either
totally
way.
blows
Giselle.
Robert Kraft.
Anyway, so
yeah, anyway, go ahead.
And Evil Lurks.
No, I was just say so. Yeah, I finished my whole piece. I obviously love this movie.
Yeah.
I just want to get you guys.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Sure.
no, I just think honestly, I talked about this at the beginning, but Demian Rugna, guy to watch. I think he is about as dangerous of a horror movie director as there is out right now.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like
That's a
when
great
you
way to put it.
watch what he puts out now, you need to be on guard because you know that's some incredibly weird, horrifying shit's gonna happen to you,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be awful. Like I expect nothing less from this guy right now, based on
100%.
his reputation and based on his 2 feature film. Because he's done 2 features and then 1 segment of Satanic Hispanics, right? So
And
that's it.
there's-
Which still
all
is
3 of
right in
them
the same
banging.
avenue
They're-
of
Yeah,
what
I
he
think
does.
he's found his.
Yeah.
He knows he has his voice. He
His
knows
like
what he wants to
whole
do.
idea of like what demons are and look like
It's
is
great.
fucking wicked scary,
Mhm.
dude. Because that was the one.
I love it.
that Satanic Hispanics. That was bar none the best fucking part of that whole.
See,
movie.
I still haven't seen that.
And I think it's the first segment of the movie.
It is, and it's far and away
It
the
blows
best.
its wad
Yeah,
immediately. And
They
dude,
should have put that last.
I agree.
Honestly, yeah.
And they have what is it? Like there's this demon that's like in like a box or something, like in his house. And dude, it
Yes.
just like it only moves when he's not looking at it. And it's
Yes.
like, dude, that's fucking scary as shit.
Yeah, it's super fucking weird.
But then you
It's
see it
super
and it's
scary.
like, dude, and then if you've seen Terrified, you're like, yeah, this is exactly what I would expect to see from this guy. Like he's got these just like strange, like fleshy, stretched out, fucked up looking,
everything for sure looks the
monsters
same.
and
Like
shit.
he definitely has a distinctive look to everything that he does.
but it's very real.
very
like
much
it's
so.
very much like it's very practical, it's polished, and it's fucking
Oh,
it
and
smells, dude. Like you
everyone,
can tell it
yeah,
smells.
They all look like rotted
yeah,
corpses. It's
yeah.
fucking disgusting.
But dude, I'm like, I haven't obviously like you imagine at this point that any buzz of any new movie he has is you're going to be all over Bloody Disgusting and Fangoria and everything. But
sure.
I haven't. I'm like, do I even look at IMDb and just see like upcoming, like if he's got anything in the radar. But
Yeah, I don't know of anything right now. I don't know that anything has been announced, but I don't begrudge you for trying to find out what.
yeah,
else
it's
is
just
coming
like,
out with.
especially like I said, like watching this again last night, which I knew I watched it again like a week ago, and that was before I decided this was the movie we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm gonna watch it again, like just to really like hone in on it.
Yeah.
That was why I had this huge like fucking spiel.
Sure.
And
Appreciate it.
it was, dude, it was like, it just something like clicked. There was just, for some reason, I just kept missing parts of it. Whether it was like just doing dad things or, well, not that I would watch this when my daughter was awake, but just like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Just like kind of like, just like, you know, just being, you know, a dad.
Yeah.
And in the house and just maybe not paying attention like I should be. But last night I was honed in. Everyone was asleep.
Yeah.
I was on the couch. And I knew I had an hour and I think it's an hour and 40 minutes exactly. I started at 8 o'clock. It ended at 9:40. And I was just like, I just got up and went to bed. And I was like, wow, that movie fucked my ass again, dude.
Do either of you guys feel like in an hour and 40 minutes it might drag at certain points, or is it you good with
No,
an hour
not
and
really.
40?
Because
Could it
you-
have been shorter or no?
you get so fucking pummeled in the first
You
like
need drag.
35, 40 minutes.
Mhm.
Like you have the initial scene with the dude in the bed and you're like, yuck. That all goes down. And then you have the scene with the goat, the guy, the axe, the pregnant lady.
Yep.
And you're like, Jesus Christ. And then you go right into, the little thing with the guy being like, can I stay in your bar? And he's like, yep. And then, that's why I brought that up. Cause I was like, that's important at the end.
Yeah, you completely forget about that scene
yeah.
if you're not thinking about it.
And then they go pick up the kids, dog attack, truck thing.
Yep.
And then it kind of like, you're like, I need a break.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get that lull, not for long, but you do get one. You get some exposition. You get a little explanation on how to handle these things and like a little more idea about the older son and how he could be a rotten and like it just can't get out of him, like, which is it's very interesting. And then Sabrina comes, takes the kid, and then you're like back into like full throttle mode for the rest of the movie. So I think you get like a good like 15-20 minute kind of like breather, and I think it works really well. I think the pacing in this movie is
Because
pretty
it's
solid.
fucking gunfire,
Fair.
then slows down, and then
Yeah.
fucking gunfire.
It goes
again. So
right. It picks right back up.
It's almost as if without that slight slowdown, you
Yeah.
would probably
It-
just
it- it
commit.
would just be
you'd
too-
have
it's
like,
just too much, dude. Yeah,
your
like
brain
you-
would fucking explode.
It would just
You
be too much.
physically can't handle
Yeah.
just that for an hour and 40 minutes. Without that,
What do
it's-
you think?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was wondering about that, but I think now hearing both of you guys, I think I am more aligned to agree with both of you. Because so I was just hey, sometimes I throw these questions out there to play devil's advocate.
dude, for
Because
you
it's
guys to
interesting
talk.
when you say drag. I refer to that's something that's continuous for most. That's just kind of. But this is just.
Yeah,
You know what's
there-
dragging is just the intense fucking chaos.
yeah,
No,
that's
I
happening.
think-
drag
think
was
so.
not the
It's-
right word. That was a more of a discussion question, I guess.
Oh,
should
no, I know,
say.
but I'm saying, like when you refer to drag though, because there are movies that drag, they're slower paced, and
Mm-hmm.
but the dragging in this movie is just the intense.
Oh, no.
chaos
Yeah,
that's
it's
happening.
it's more of like, when am I gonna get like a
I
break?
need a break.
Yeah.
My mentally
Yeah,
cannot handle.
you're
this.
getting the shit kicked out of you. And it's like because there's definitely obviously there's movies you watch and you're like, oh my god, like when is this gonna be fucking over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because you're
Like
just like
Skinamarink?
it's so
I'm good.
boring.
Talk about
Yeah.
dragging.
More
Right.
on Skinamarink in a minute.
No more.
An,
I don't
an
need
hour
more
and 40
on
minutes is almost it's fucking close to 2 hours. It's a long
Mhm.
time. So it's a
That is
considerable.
correct. An hour and 40 minutes is close to 2 hours.
Yeah, it's
Certain-
you know,
can
it's,
confirm
it's a
that it
good
is,
it's a
yes.
good like you're kind of teetering on like the movie being too long.
It's actually 5/6
Yeah,
of 2 hours.
but you're teetering on like that's where people kind of like 90 minutes. People are like great, but you get over that, you get into that 100-minute, 104-minute mark. People are like, all right,
It's like,
Like,
yo,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, you give me a 74-minute fucking film, I'm on board with that. Very rare.
Oh my gosh.
It's very few.
August Underground
happens
Mortem.
anymore.
No, there are some 74-minute, and they're all fucking
they're not great.
awful.
Yeah.
But you wish you're glad they were 74 minutes.
But Yeah, no, that's what else you got, Mike?
You guys want to do a bomb ass segment on the year in horror of 2023 for movies?
I've never heard about this. What is this segment about? I'm just kidding.
Well,
Just
it's
joking.
we're gonna run through the horror movies of the
We're
year.
not going to talk.
We've done this every episode.
We're good on. We're good on When Evil Lurks.
for right now.
I think so.
Oh,
Do you
go
do you
back.
have anything else?
Do you have anything
No,
else?
see, the only thing I was going to say is like I was going to talk about the fucking dog scene again because
Oh yeah.
there's so many few scenes and it's just one of those scenes where, like you said, you see it happening, but
It's
I
something
never
you've never seen before.
and I'm like, and I keep going. I see what you're doing here, but
you-
you're not
you
gonna. You
can't
know,
do
but
that.
you're
You're
not
not
gonna,
gonna
do
do
it,
it.
and you're
You
not
can't
gonna
do
do it, and
that.
you're not gonna do it, and you're not gonna do it, and you're not gonna do it.
Or
And
at
then
least
they
if you
fucking do
are
it, and
do
it's just
it.
like holy fucking
You're a
shit.
bitch.
you
You're
did
not gonna do
And then
it.
so I told my friend about this movie. I'm like, yeah, I just watched it. I'm like, dude, you gotta watch this movie. It's fucking horrifying. He's like, it's Troy.
Oh,
I'm always like, you need to watch these movies. And I'm like, there's a scene in this movie, dude, that I'm like, it involves a dog. I'm like, it's just, he's like, I don't know if I want to watch that. I'm like, oh, that's right. And I'm like, I always forget, like, he had a dog.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, maybe don't say it. Tell us off air. That's okay.
The
Well, he's not
Dog
listening.
stuff though, I can understand. You
No,
don't want to
yeah.
watch
well,
this
that's the
movie.
thing when I
Yeah.
told people like, oh, it's about a dog, and they're like, oh, the dog dies. I'm like, no,
Actually,
dude,
like,
it's
I'm
actually
talking
way
about
worse
the
than
kid
that.
getting
That's what
away.
I said to Matt the first time. I was like, "Oh, this is a brutal dog death." He's like, "No, I was like,
It's actually way worse.
Okay, all right.
You
The,
wish this was a
Well, that's the thing is like the way that scene is set up. That's what I was saying. It's like, dude, you keep panning back and forth between people just screaming at each other. No one's paying attention to the kids. No one's paying attention to anything. But you keep seeing this dog. You keep seeing the dog. You keep seeing the dog.
kids just hanging
And you're
out.
like, this dog is going to fuck shit up at some point.
And what fucks
you're
you
like,
up
but
is
what
how
you-
good they make it look.
Well, that's the thing. You're like, you know what's
It
going to
looks
happen.
like a dog
but
munching on
you
some
don't
egg. You're
expect
like,
to
"That's not
see it happen.
Yeah, good. You expect to maybe feel like it's implied that
Yeah,
this
like it's
happened.
off screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. Holy
But dude, you
fuck.
see, there's nothing left of the imagination. Like if a
This
big
might
mastiff,
be like if they did
if
like
a big
rape
mastiff
do,
was to maul a 4-year-old
That's
girl,
what's happening.
that's what it would look like.
and I would
And that is
not be able to.
Yeah,
And there's
awful.
few things in this world that I could deal with. That's one of the things that I could not deal with.
I have a mastiff.
I would just. Yeah.
Luckily, he's a sweet old man. So he's a big old
He's a
sweet,
sweet old
big
man.
old. Layla calls him. I said, Layla, what's messy? She goes, he's a fat baby.
As long as he doesn't
Yeah,
get.
that's right.
As long as he doesn't get possessed by a rotten, I think.
No,
it'd be
well,
nice.
you know what?
Uh,
If it comes down to the dog of my
funny.
kid, you know, I'm gonna kill
yeah,
the dog.
yeah, of
Just
course.
don't shoot it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna shoot him. I
Well-
wouldn't do that though. He's a good boy.
Well,
He's a great boy.
Though he's a pain in my ass.
All right.
I hate to
Speaking
change
of
the
here-
subject since
Yeah,
we're on such a high
we're ready
note
for
right
it now, Mike. I know
Um,
you're amped up.
No,
for it,
it's
so
okay.
let's
It's
go.
all right. It's okay. It's okay.
Let's not talk about it.
So guys, a lot of these movies should feel pretty familiar since 2023 was a mere.
I mean, I bet
few
a lot
months
of our
ago.
top 10s are
Yeah.
in this from that year.
I feel like all of us can either comment that we've seen or maybe know about these movies. So, Andrew, first one for you. 65, the Adam Driver dinosaur Sam Raimi movie.
I love dinosaur movies, so for that
Adam
reason,
Driver dinosaur
for that
vehicle.
reason and that
Brief.
reason alone, I give it like a 4. Oh, that's my. I'm not giving a description about.
Am I
this fucking
incorrect to
movie.
understand that you saw that on a first date? Did you do that?
Not
that
a
movie?
first date. No,
No,
just a regular date.
Just a date. Oh, just a date. Okay.
Dude, I mean, it had big fucking legs when it came out, like a dinosaur.
Oh, dude, I would have seen it too.
So don't
Like, I
fucking
could've.
make fun of me.
No, I'm not making.
Oh, I thought you were
fun
saying
of
why we're. I thought you were like, did you see that on a first date? You
No.
loser. That's what I got out of that.
I'm just trying to get conversation out of it.
Oh no, no,
my
I did
God.
see it on a first date. It was a boring dinosaur movie.
All right.
Would have been better.
Speaking
Would've been
of
better if it was
movies,
good.
I saw a Batman movie called Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham, and that was a H.P. Lovecraftian Batman.
And it was that an
movie.
animated movie?
Yes, it was.
A lot of people fucking
Dude, the
love
animated
those.
ones are the
They're like
best,
rated
yeah.
R.
It was rated R.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It's really good. It was a Lovecraft Batman horror movie, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
the Killing Joke I've heard is like a fucking.
That's what
Killing,
the
Kill-
Dark
Killing
Knight's
Joke
based
is
off of,
one of
right?
the best
Yeah.
Batman stories you'll ever read or watch. Anyway, we also got Beau is Afraid last year, gentlemen. I feel like we've talked
We
about this
have.
movie a lot because it came up on our top 10 of the year list, right? Pretty
Mhm,
good.
mhm.
Pretty good.
It was up there.
Yep.
Solid.
But not one of the greats, I would say. Matt, Birth, Rebirth. You saw this, right?
I liked this
Yeah.
movie. Yeah,
Okay.
this was a harsh watch.
This was
too.
I really like
Yeah.
this movie too. This is the one with what's her face?
The girl from Scrubs. I
Yes.
forgot her name. I'm sorry, I forget both of their names.
And then the blonde lady.
Yeah.
Who looked very familiar.
Right.
I can't remember her name.
That's okay. You don't have to
I feel like
remember.
such a fucking
I don't-
ass.
I don't-
It is what it is, dude. It's the end of the, it's the end of the
fine.
show.
It's the end of the
Yeah,
show.
that's what it is.
Brooklyn 45 on Shudder. I watched. Very good movie. Guys, Cobweb. We all watched that.
Yeah, I like
that was-
I liked it a lot.
that was
I think that was like
2023.
towards the bottom of my top 10, I think.
feels like so
Same
long
for me.
ago.
It was towards the bottom of my
It
top
might
10.
not have even been in my top 10, but it was.
It was in mine.
mine.
It was in mine.
Yeah, that's gonna be a Halloween rewatch.
Very good Halloween
Yeah.
rewatch movie. Cocaine Bear, another movie I really
It's
liked.
fine.
Yeah.
It was good enough. I mean, it was
Ray
enjoyable.
Liotta's
It was interesting.
final film role.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Very
A movie
cool.
we covered on this podcast, Dark Harvest. Matt, I think you were unavailable. For this
Yeah, I
episode
think
for
I had
whatever
to skip
reason.
out on that
Yeah.
one.
The
I thought
movie
that
was
one
not great.
I
It was okay.
it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
I
gonna be.
didn't. I do remember not being a big fan of it.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
great.
it was
wasn't
exactly what it was. This a cat pick?
It was a me pick,
Oh,
actually.
awesome.
Yeah. Because the guy that directed it.
Sorry.
Sorry. The guy that directed this movie also directed 30 Days of Night, Black Mirror Bandersnatch, and something else too. So I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
ooh,
a
this
fair
sounds good.
assumption.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Sorry, my bad.
it's okay. It's fine. Andrew, El Conde came out in 2023.
I thought that
You
movie
liked
was.
that
Did you
one.
watch that movie yet?
No.
It's It's
I haven't
worth.
seen it.
It's worth a watch for. It's different. It's very different in what it is. It's almost like
Okay.
a documentary style vampire story.
Like comedy though.
Yeah, it's like a black
Like,
comedy,
yeah, it's
like,
black
a dark
yeah.
comedy.
with a vampire.
But it's like
vampire.
a-
But it's
like
like
a-
it's based off of like actual historical shit.
Yeah.
It's like 18 different things going on at once, which I think is what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
It's a fucking weird movie. I would watch it. Like it's not like the most horrifying, but it's interesting.
Oh, I
Is there
remember
some
your
good
number one
vampire
was
stuff?
Godzilla -1.
That's
what
right. It was. Yes, it was.
I forgot that was a late entry into the.
I still
Entries.
cannot fucking wait to see that movie.
Me too.
So.
Yeah, I bet you have like 3 more months.
All
We'll
the
see.
physical releases from Japan don't have English subtitles.
Yeah, intentionally.
That's
All right.
Yeah, why?
Yeah,
Too
that's how
much.
it goes.
Too much,
Yeah.
people. Too much. Just release the fucking
Well, they
movie,
did the
for
same thing
Christ's
with
sake.
Shin Godzilla when that came out.
So I'll be able to see it.
They're
when I'm
bogarting
45.
it from us.
Okay, fair enough.
I blame. You know what I blame for this? Fucking Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah,
or whatever the
that's
fucking
fair.
stupid name of that movie is.
You're probably not wrong. It's probably as
Because it still would have been in theaters if that movie didn't come out. They're like, you know what movie's better? We need this movie. This movie better. And you're like, no, this movie sucks. Nobody likes to watch this.
Here,
Matthew, in 2023, we also got a movie from our friend Rebecca McKendry from Colors of the Dark, Elevator Game. Did you see it?
no.
No, neither did I. No thanks.
I like you said. Like you would
I feel like a movie both you guys saw, or one of you guys saw, Enos Men.
Oh yeah,
I
didn't
wanted
like
to
this
watch
movie.
it, and I didn't watch it, and I'm glad I didn't watch
It's not that good. It's very boring.
it. It looked. I remember.
It's
saying
very like
I saw
underwhelming.
Folk horror, and I thought of you guys because that's
Dude,
the
they
connection
played it.
you guys
It
have.
made it look like it was going to be like a Wicker Man
it. Yeah.
thing, and it like kind of is, but then it was just like it was like they had the vibe of like a 70s horror movie in terms of like what it looked like, but all the shots were like artsy fartsy, like modern, like art film, and I was like, this sucks. This is stupid.
Yeah, I'm
So-
glad I didn't watch that. I was gonna rent that.
No, it's boring. It's on Hulu if you do want to watch it. It's not long. It's like 80 minutes.
Yeah, but now it. I mean,
But it's
why
just
would
like
I-
nothing happens. Like
Yeah,
it's
so-
yeah,
yeah,
it's
why
not
would I
worth
watch
it.
and it's
Just
like,
like watching-
if Matt say no, I'm
No,
not gonna watch.
Yeah.
If nothing happens,
Yeah,
then
I
I'll
have
just
a-
watch
I have a
Skinner
pretty-
Rank again.
I have a pretty wide palette for what I'm able to endure.
Yeah,
Again,
something.
I know
but something
we're
has to happen.
We're
if I'm
gonna get to
watch the
Skinner
movie.
Rank. Hold that.
We don't need to get to that. That movie doesn't even count. It doesn't.
Well,
even
I feel like
exist
we
to me
all
either.
rip on it. So after Enos Men, we have Evil Dead Rise, which was a phenomenal.
Very
You sure that movie's not called Penis Men?
No,
it's
it
Ennis Men.
is in fact
It's actually
called
Ennis
Ennis.
Men.
Ennis.
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 Penis
Ennis.
Men.
Guys, we also got Five Nights at Freddy's as I
still
gloss
haven't
over
seen
Evil
that.
Dead Rise.
Yeah.
It was actually
I
not
think
bad.
I started watching that, and then I was like, I can't watch this movie.
So what I will say in its defense, the creatures are designed by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. So it's very good creature design. Works very well.
They're
Check it out.
Muppets.
Yeah, dude,
It's Muppets. Everyone loves Muppets.
it's like Chuck E. Cheese but horror. Watch it. It's kind of fun. If you can't have fun watching that, I don't really know what else to say.
I had no fun.
I also watched.
Zero.
Also came out in 2023. Not that I watched. Godzilla -1. We just talked about that. Can't wait to see it. Oh my god, it's gonna be fucking awesome whenever I can.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Anybody else? Or I didn't see it. Did anybody see the Haunted Mansion movie?
No,
Nope.
I didn't know that came out last year.
Why would I
Based
have
on
seen
the
that?
Disney ride. How about Hell House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor,
I
which
like
is
that movie, and I haven't seen the other
that
ones.
one.
that was on my top 10 of last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Phenomenal movie.
Very good.
Great.
I haven't
movie.
seen any of the other ones, so I don't know why I just decided to randomly watch that one.
It's you can
Yeah,
watch it.
they're
great.
pretty good.
Pretty good.
But the
You-
first one,
I thought.
didn't-
See, I thought
The
you
first
didn't
one's
really like
phenomenal.
found footage though.
Yeah.
but that one's that's fine. Like, so, dude, I don't hate them.
Certain
yeah,
found footage
yeah.
ones. You should watch the Frog one. Though.
Gents,
Frog Man.
we also got Infinity Pool in
Mm.
2023.
Yeah, this is a great one. Brandon Cronenberg is fucking. He's kind
He's
of
on. He's on board.
He's on a heater.
Can I
Yeah,
dig
this
it?
possession or possessor,
Possessor, and then this.
possessor,
Yeah.
and then this. He's got something else coming out soon too, right?
He's going to be
the,
doing
uh,
movies
the,
for as
uh,
long as we're alive.
The daughter of Cronenberg has a
the
movie
the
coming
the
out, too.
cast
She does,
the
yeah.
cast for the Shrouds. Oof.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but that might be Cronenberg's last
yeah.
movie.
That's this September, right? Is that when that's coming out?
I think
Well,
it's
how
coming out
old?
this
How
year.
old's David Cronenberg right now?
He's like in his I think he might be 80.
Wow. Okay.
He's been around for a bit.
Okay.
He's also he looks like he was like 50 in 1970, 30 years ago.
Do either of you guys see Insidious: The Red Door? I did not.
No,
Nope. Neither did I. We'll
not
move
of
on.
interest. Not of interest.
It Lives Inside.
Yeah,
Anyone? Bueller?
David Cronenberg's 80.
It lives inside. I don't think I saw. But
No, I didn't. This is the Spanish one Possession movie?
Indian, I believe.
or Indian. Okay,
Yep. Yep.
no, I didn't see that.
Okay, fair enough. It's a Wonderful Knife. That was a movie we covered in this podcast.
I
and
didn't
it was
hate it.
not great, but
Yeah,
it wasn't also
it's for a
best.
Christmas
I
holiday
personally,
movie.
I didn't hate it. I
It's
didn't think it
fine.
was that bad.
Here's a movie I actually really did like last year: Knock at the Cabin, the M.
Yeah.
Night Shyamalan film.
I was
Liked
good until it got like this super polished happy ending. I was like,
Yeah, they ruined it. I
They-
wanted the. Yeah. It
So-
should have been more disturbing and upsetting.
You never will do this. The book, the ending is so much darker.
You've told me
It's-
this, yeah.
yeah.
It should
you'd
be
like it.
darker. Like, why did they milk it up? Oh, because
Mhm.
America.
Because America.
Because America.
Guys, another movie we covered in this podcast, Malum, came out in 2023.
I like this one.
Yep.
I also like Night Shift.
I think
Or
I
Last
like
Shift, sorry.
Night Shift better.
Oh,
or
Last
Last Shift
yeah.
better. We also got Megan. No, thank
Nope.
you. Movie called No One Will Save You. That's the alien invasion movie that came out on Hulu.
I saw that one.
No,
Yeah,
thanks.
it was
I didn't
fine.
like it.
It wasn't. It
Is that
wasn't
the one with
anything.
no dialogue?
Yep,
It was
no,
very
yeah.
limited dialogue.
I thought there was none. I don't think it was anything.
Well, it was like almost like it was other people.
Oh, it was
talking.
like
it was never
there's
like
just
it was
no-
background
Yeah.
dialogue.
So
Which-
that doesn't count.
I mean, it's dialogue.
It is. It is. Okay, so you're technically correct. Speaking of pieces of shit, we also got Pet Cemetery Bloodlines.
Oh, that-
Yeah,
Oh
that movie was bad.
yeah.
That might have been one of the worst movies I've ever
Good.
even
Good
attempted
Lord.
to watch.
I think I
made
watched that and I
halfway.
didn't tell anyone I watched it because it was that bad.
Renfield, a movie I loved.
Solid.
Do you think we should have like in January? This is off topic. Like our five least favorite movies of the year.
We could.
We
That'd be
could
kinda
do
fun,
that.
Just like the give our fucking old stinkos. We'll call them the butt stinkos.
The butt
Can
stinkos.
we
That's a
come up
good
with
idea.
a-
We can go with a better.
I'm sure that's a better name.
We
The
got
butt
the butt
stinkos.
stinkos. Hey, the
I can-
fart,
I
hey,
think-
farty
Yeah,
pants.
I might be able to ask Layla if she can come up with a
We could just call them the farties.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like.
Guys, in 2023, we also got Saw X, which means Saw 10, and then Scream 6. Scream XI,
Saw
which
X
is
was
Scream X.
Saw X was cool.
Did I see
I
Yeah,
that?
liked
I
it.
actually really like that.
Did
Yeah,
I watch
too,
that
yeah.
movie?
You might have watched it over here. Hammered.
Was it? I know I watched Thanksgiving over
Mhm.
here.
It's
Scream
dude,
6 is the worst of the entire franchise.
Let me
I
ask you
definitely
this.
didn't watch that.
Have you seen any Saw movie before? Yes, I
Saw
know you
one.
have. Yes. So divert to this way. The traps in this one are very good and very gross,
Mhm.
and
It's
I
got
feel
a
like I saw
decent
it.
pretty much
storyline.
it. Yeah, and the storyline's good, so you'll survive.
I have no interest. I'm not watching it.
I figured you would.
Okay.
I don't have time for that.
Okay, now's the time to talk about Skinamarink, which
No.
are we far enough removed from when Skinamarink was released and everybody kind of loved it, that we can say that it's not that great of a movie.
Well, I never,
It's just boring.
I never loved it.
It's incredibly
I actually
boring.
hated it. So
I do want to say there's like the first time I watched it, there's a couple parts where you're like kind of like, hey, what's gonna happen here?
Yeah.
And it's just like knowing now that nothing happens, it's like, okay, now there's zero rewatch value. There's
Zero.
Yeah.
absolute garbage trash movie. I couldn't give a worse review of anything in my life. I don't even know if like Sullivan Brothers and fucking Kingston,
Who you hate?
Massachusetts
Yes.
could be on the
Hate them.
same level of my hatred. Like this movie is the most ultimate trash heap.
This
People
movie
are like,
did-
it's
hold on a
analog
second.
horror.
Hold on, wait,
If
brothers,
someone
we watch
tells
this
me something-
Wait, hold on a second.
This movie sponsored by Sullivan Brothers.
Did this movie personally offend you as Sullivan
It,
Brothers and Kingston did?
it offended me in the fact that it tried to say that it was a horror movie. Oh, it's analog horror. I don't know what the fuck that means.
means
But
nothing.
I'm not interested, and that was the dumbest thing I've ever watched. Fucking like this isn't a movie. You can't just show things that are happening that aren't actually happening. That's actually it's just an image of a dark room with someone's fucking head in the corner or a sheet or my fucking ass. That movie was so bad, and people are like, "This is a great." Fuck you. I can't.
All right.
Because no one actually liked that movie. Anyone that says they like that movie is lying.
I feel like there was a lot of last year
Liars.
people saying they like that movie, but I don't know. That's something
Everyone
we
was
can
like, they were like, you have
revisit.
to watch it half asleep at like 3 a.m.
Oh,
I'm
well,
like,
that's
why
how
would
I
I do that?
No,
Yeah.
What
no
what
one
am I
would do that.
watching?
yeah.
You're watching a movie where you don't have to pay attention. Oh,
Yeah,
Hey.
you're watching where you're.
You know what might be
delirious.
an interesting draft, by the way, is drafting overrated horror movies.
true.
Not a bad idea.
We're not calling them bad. We're calling them overrated.
We are also allowed, Michael, to call something bad if it's bad, right?
If we were doing this and we weren't calling anything bad, it would be the worst thing ever because we're just calling everything good. It would
I
suck.
do. I
Right?
try not to.
I don't wanna-
discredit people like
no,
work.
I don't
no,
wanna
I understand work.
disrespect
No, but
anybody.
there's see this. I'm willing to disrespect this because this is the biggest money grab ever.
It
this
wasn't
guy
a money
was
grab.
no, it
They
wasn't
didn't
a money
make that much money.
They made more money than it cost to do
Talking about
this.
Skinamarink?
There's a picture. They probably made $1 million. Who was in that movie? A bed,
Yeah.
a corner, the corner
Toys.
of a room.
Yeah, it
some
was like
toys.
it was like someone trying to catch like Woody and Buzz getting up.
At least
This is like Buffalo Bill.
At
This
least
is
the
like
guy
if
that directed that
Buffalo
movie
Bill
was
made a
being
movie.
creative.
Yeah,
That's what I'll
no,
say.
There
was very
there
creative.
is a little bit of credit to
You
give.
know who directed this movie? Jeffrey Dahmer.
All right.
Some fucking psychopath.
Real quick, I hate to move off of Skinamarink and onto another Andrew movie that he'll clearly be like, yes. Slaughterhouse came out in 2020.
No, I'd actually never watched it.
You didn't
I
actually
gave
watch
it 5 minutes and I was like, I can't. with this.
Guys, good movie. Suitable Flesh.
Oh
Yeah, I like
Great.
this a
Very
lot.
good.
Fantastic.
Heather Graham. Yeah.
I think this was like my
Yeah.
number 2.
Yep.
It was
Yeah.
way up there on my list last year.
Was your number one Talk to Me? Because that's what I had up next.
That was my number
Talk to
3.
Me. Talk to Me.
That was not my number 1, but that was a good movie.
Talk to Me did not land in my top 10 last year, which was, I feel like that was the biggest digression from everything else that you guys did. And Cat,
It
too.
was very edgy.
I like
Didn't do it for me. I'm really
I
sorry.
know,
It
I know.
didn't do it for me. I don't know. I'm not trying to be a troll. I promise. But yeah, talk to me. Guys, another movie that apparently a lot of people liked. I fucking hated. I know both you guys hated. Thanksgiving. Eli Roth.
I didn't hate it. It was fine.
Movie sucked.
I knew going into it that it was an issue Roth movie, so I didn't have.
You knew what it was going to be.
Yeah, I knew that I was gonna.
That's
get
why I
a
hated
lot
it,
of
'cause-
gore, and I was gonna get a lot of shitty acting and shitty
Mhm.
writing.
Yeah, I don't really like any.
Like his just dialogue sucks, but he can come up with some fucking awesome violence.
Oh, he's
so.
very violent.
Yeah.
Ultra violent.
But it was good. It was like a nod to '80s slashers. So I was like, I get,
Yes.
I get
Oh,
what he's
for sure.
doing. So
For sure. All right. I'm going to lay a couple of movies on you real quick. Let me know if you've seen them or not. The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
yes,
The Blackening.
No.
The Boogeyman.
No.
The Exorcist Believer.
yes,
no.
Yes. The Exorcist Believer. Not that. Not that.
not good.
Not that good. Not that bad.
I
Like,
still haven't seen
okay.
it.
It was weird.
I still haven't seen that.
It had potential, but I don't.
I'm
think
never
I didn't
gonna.
like
I'm going to go for the rest of my life and never watch that.
the Boogeyman was on my top 10 last year, so I can't besmirch that. I have
I
not
haven't seen
seen
Boogeyman.
have not seen The Blackening, have not seen the Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
That one wasn't bad. It was an interesting like Frankenstein take. though.
I've
I like
heard
that.
that also. Okay.
I think that guy's name was Brazzers.
Last Voyage of the Demeter. This was my number one horror movie of the year last year. Fuck you guys. Whatever.
That's fine. It was a fine
Yeah.
movie.
I liked it a lot.
I don't know
Loved it.
about number one, but okay.
Well, that's just you. The Nun 2 made none of our number one.
I
I
like
didn't
what
watch
you
it.
did there.
Didn't even make my watch list.
Yep.
Yeah, I would have watched that movie. I didn't see the Nun 1. Nun 1, 2?
Speaking of lists, the only person that had the Outwaters on their top 10 list of last year was this guy right here talking, me. Matt and I had the opportunity to go see that in Salem. It was a lot of fun, and I really liked that movie.
Yeah, that movie
very
was cool.
confusing, very scary, very weird.
Yeah.
It was very
Just-
Lovecraft.
I
That
had
was your
other
number
things
one?
just top.
No.
Oh, it was
it
in your
made
top
my
10.
top 10. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, I liked that movie, but I just had other things just kind of came in on top of it.
Yeah, it was fine, but I feel like it's tough for a movie in the beginning of the year to make its all the
the
way
other
through.
thing too is like I can't imagine like out there seeing it on TV, like just like watching it at home. Like, dude, that movie was kind of made to be seen in theaters.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
if you didn't see it in theaters, you're kind of like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be much better in theaters.
It's just you have a bigger canvas to look at. So
Speaking of movies that made one of our top 10s last year, Andrew, Pope's Exorcist came out in 2023.
That movie was fucking great.
You're
It
a
was
huge
good.
fan of
It was fun.
Dude, it was just a
Russell
blast.
Crowe.
Dude, I love Russell Crowe. He's got another stupid movie coming out. Dude, we still
Another Exorcist.
we still haven't
movie.
talking about.
that's not related
We
to
still
that.
haven't
right?
talked
Yeah.
about
Unbelievable.
Unhinged.
Yeah.
That movie needs to be talked about.
Okay. Fair
I
enough.
think it's called Unhinged.
Unwelcome was another Irish horror movie that I had in my top 10 last year, and then
that movie, really? The one
Yep.
with the fucking
I love
little
that movie.
scrumpets?
Love it.
Like the little
Yep.
Irish.
absolutely. Even more ridiculous,
Gremlins.
Kat, who is on a hiatus from this podcast, had Winnie the Pooh, Blood
Yeah.
and Honey as her number one horror movie
Of
of
course she did.
2023. She's not here to defend herself right now, so I can't make
I
fun of
still
her
want to see the
too
second one, but I don't
much.
know where to see it. So
Apparently, it's going to be streaming somewhere. It has to be. I mean,
no, it's not. It's like Godzilla -1.
it will be
Impossible
eventually.
to
Is what I'm
find.
saying.
Winnie
It
the
will be.
Pooh, Blood and Honey.
2. The second
The
one.
second one. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so that's 2023 in horror. You can also go back and listen to our 2023 top 10 episode, which I think we all had a lot of fun on. So
Yeah.
go back and listen to that. if
Any
you want
draft,
to.
any list, it's all good.
Yeah. If we're not like talking about one specific topic, I like listening to all of us talk about like multiple things.
Because we can barely talk about one thing at once.
We
Unless
can.
you're Matt and you can name the entire plot.
We're all
to it.
morons.
It's pretty good. I like
Matt's very good at all of
He's-
that.
Thanks.
You got regular focus.
I was
Guys,
locked in, dude.
anything else we want to say on When Evil Lurks before we sign off for this evening?
Good movie. Go watch it. Subscribe to Shudder.
Same.
Enjoy it.
Dude, fuck yeah. Sam, Andrew?
Short and sweet.
Agreed. Rah.
Great. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. I've been joined by Andrew and Matthew. Gentlemen, fucking tell everyone to piss off. Good
Piss
night.
off,
Fuck
you
outta here.
fucking bloody buggers.
Yeah. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I'd highly recommend you check out the shows from our friends over on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find shows from Inebriart, the Old Colony Cast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, and Retro Redoctopus, so head on over and give them a listen.